You have sound effects?
I do. I
Oh
do
my
have sound
God.
effects.
You have sound effects?
I sure do.
Where is it? Is it like, am I capable of having sound effects?
No. So I, courtesy of our mutual friend Capitalissimo, I was gifted a Rodecaster Duo and a
Whoa.
Shure M7 microphone. I was given like a lot of fancy stuff from him as a wedding present. So
I see.
So this is my plan. So this is why you need to get married, so your Twitter mutuals can buy you nice things. But so no, I told
true.
this while I was testing out the equipment last week, is that my goal, Geo, because the soundboard has like 16 options for me, I want to do an entire episode of DA when you're sick, just using previous Geo sound bites and maybe some rants from previous episodes to play as audio. And I want to see how long I could do DA before anyone notices it's not actually you.
You do like the Chat GPT Geo?
Oh yeah, GeoPT, you know, it'd be great.
Like, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I have a lot of options now. This is great.
That's crazy. This is like when I discovered that you could put photos in YouTube Shorts, and like that was like a game changer to me. But anyways, that was, so this is episode 515, and let me just preface this.
151.
151. Sorry, 151. Let me just preface this while people are rolling in. It's been a while. I'll sort of like save the plan for this year till a little bit after, while more people roll in. But anyways,
your plan for the year, it's March 3rd.
No, I mean, it's only like what, the third month, right? So
yeah, you got 9 more to go.
And but that's what I mean. Like, we were off for a month. So anyways, I'll just say it now. I am totally, so we're trying to catch up with,
world events.
The world events, which is quite numerous. And going forward, hopefully our hand won't be forced as much to do these type of shows, and we'll just stick to, a bit more high-minded things. But, everybody, I don't know, everybody likes.
Well, we've kept pretty well to the format where it's like 45-minute intro, current events, pop culture, and then we cover the topic at hand for about an hour and a half, and then the last 30 minutes of the 3-hour show are usually dedicated to super chats. It's been a pretty solid formula for 150 some odd episodes, so I'm not particularly worried. I think that, things can be tighter, things can go, but anyone who does nearly 3 years worth of episodes where it's an episode a week, I think that you fall into rhythm. So it is good to be back. We're back. We're back. I'm gonna try so hard not to abuse the shit out of that. I'm so sorry.
We're gonna be like
I'm like a monkey with an AK-47 right now. It's gonna be so bad. Because also I don't know what all of these do. Like, there's one that says music bed. Like, what the hell does that do? And I'm really tempted to press it.
It's gonna be like Blood Satellite, where they got all the different audio.
Yes.
I love that, man. I love that. While I was driving, I was like listening to nonstop Blood Satellite, and it was like, oh my god. No, but what I was gonna say is, like, hopefully we'll stick to that. But like, shows where all we do is talk about current events will probably be not as frequent, and if we do, hopefully we could find,
the world has to be ending for that to happen.
Yeah, but hopefully we can find a positive. And I think like this will be a show where obviously our hand is forced. We have to talk about what's happening in the world and what happened last month. But before we get to that, like, so you got married, Prude, and so how does everything went well, you were saying? And
yeah, it all went off without a hitch. For those who are not married, the wedding industry is a disgusting, evil racket and cartel that must be destroyed. Like, we must destroy Pinterest. We must destroy big florist. All these things must go. No, so our wedding was actually really, I don't want to, bad to talk about wedding budgets or things like that? I don't know. Ours was remarkably cheap. It was under 7,000 for everything. We did, I think, less than 7,000 for the wedding.
I wonder if the TFR is affected by the fact that weddings are meant to be this like big, expensive monstrosity.
There's everyone likes to point out the correlation that the more expensive the wedding is, the more it's, you're more likely to end up in divorce. So, I think I've got really good odds then if that's the case to not have this end terribly or anything like that. No, but I mean, so like for instance, it was a church wedding. I literally get to have my big fat Greek wedding. And so that went well, obviously. And then the reception was a local place. We didn't go super all out or whatever. A lot of things were done by ourselves and our respective families for food and things like that. So, I mean, everything was well and affordable and things like that. Like you didn't have to make anyone buy any expensive clothing because it's an Orthodox wedding. I just have our wedding sponsors, my best man served in the choir. Like there wasn't anything big about that. So, but I mean, the whole planning part, you just turn into like a rabid, like, wow, this is a total racket, and you kind of turn into a socialist for 5 seconds. And it's like, why are you making so much money off of this? Like wedding photographers, like when we first started planning everything, it was just like, well, this is your investment package. And I'm like, for that much money, I can go buy a used car. Like, why the hell do you deserve $8,000? That's insane to me. So thankfully, a family friend of a family friend did it for remarkably cheap, and the photos turned out great. But it was just like, wow, this is crazy. So if you get married, keep it affordable, keep it all in house. Like just don't do it unless you're loaded and your family's going to pay for it. Then by all means go all out. But like everything was lovely, and it's the natural conclusion. So if chat, I've told this to Twitter mutuals when I got engaged, if I ever turn into an annoying wife guy, like who I'm talking about on Twitter, you have every right to kill me.
You turn into like VB Knives or
like if I turn into VB Knives or that like one guy with the like Norm Macdonald profile picture, I want you to
Normie McDonald.
Yeah, if I turn into Normie McDonald or something like that, I want you to execute me live on television. Like you just need to do it. End of discussion. You just need to do it, chat. You just need to end me, put me out of my misery. It has to be done. Has to be done, folks. Has to be done. My hand was forced. And so don't.
Oh my god!
I gotta have my jokes in here somewhere. It's been too long. It was fun to not be online so much. That was the best part. It was fun taking a break.
Yeah, I was gonna say like it's you gotta find some humor and stuff,
Well, yeah.
But anyways, oh sorry, I cut you off. So you were saying your rant about. We'll get to. My hand was forced later on. So
you gotta have fun with these things, man. You gotta have fun.
Have fun with it. Yeah. Anyways, you were saying about the wedding industry.
Oh, I just think it's my inner libertarian returned when I paid the state of Texas $80 for a license to get married. I thought that was really bad. For some reason, my petty libertarian emerged, and I'm like, $80 to tell the state I'm getting. So everything was nice. I'm not going to cover it or anything in detail for too long. No one wants to listen to some frog on the internet getting fucking married. But no, everything went well. I'm very happy to take the month off. We haven't gone anywhere yet for a honeymoon. We're going to do something like that later in the summer. But other than that, everything went well. I didn't really do much. I put out a quick video because I recorded something. I have a lot of things scheduled for this month that I have promised that will that I did do a lot of work behind the scenes. Like after the wedding, I did a lot of recording stuff. I did a lot of editing. So there's a lot of stuff coming in. The gentleman who paid me, I don't know if he's in chat right now, for the book review on Whitewashing America, that comes out this month. Enjoy. I'm going to do I have my notes, so I might do it as a live show, or I might just pre-record my points and go over it in detail like I would on a Do You Even Read episode. And it'll be out this month. I'm having Wade Stotts come on the channel later this month. We're going to talk about The Children of Men by P.D. James. And then, so I mean, also I was on Oren's channel last month to talk about rotisserie chickens and the atrocious Wall Street Journal article about I like how rotisserie chickens have replaced avocado toast.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of avocados and all and other things green, I know that you covered this with Mike of Pole, that like matcha whatever.
Macho
love who,
Labubu, yeah.
who what's his name, like the Schizo Beak or Schizo Speak on YouTube, or he's just like
Dubai Chocolate.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, Dubai Chocolate.
I love that channel, and I love that entire shtick. That whole bit is so entertaining.
Yeah.
It's very welcome to our BlackRock employee onboard training video.
I wonder if like I was gonna make some stupid joke about Dubai, but anyways, did you say that
that's some other green stuff right there, Dubai chocolate? That's always on sale when I go to a gas station. Like if I go inside,
I've
like
never
go to the
had
bathroom.
it. I need to try
I've never. Well, it looks expensive. Like it'll be on. It's on the counter where you would go pay for shit at most gas stations.
That's
like it's
Dubai
right
in a
there.
nutshell. It looks expensive.
It's right there where I could go buy. Like if you wanted to go buy a lottery ticket or cigarettes, like right above all the cigarette and tobacco products is Dubai chocolates, and I'm like, no one's paying $24 fucking for a chocolate bar. Like if that chocolate bar better be, curing irritable bowel syndrome for $24 a bar, but
it might cause IBS.
It might cause IBS. That's very true, and nobody wants that.
No, that's Dubai in a nutshell, where something that looks very expensive, but it's like a poor person's version of like that guy like that does the morning routine videos. It's like that's what
I love. I do love those videos because it reminds me of the meme where it's like nice black dress slacks with like nice loafers and a brown overcoat, and it's just like, this is a black guy in the city who makes $65K a year who wants to show you that he's worth more than he actually is. I'm like, that's what those like morning routine videos remind me of. It's nouveau riche, it's hood rich shit that you do where it's just like, instead of the Patrick Bateman routine, it's just like, hi, I'm Tyrone Johnson. I'm 27 years old. I don't have a felony. And this is how I like to start my morning. I wake up at 3:17 a.m. from a text from my baby mama letting me know the child support's due this month. After that, I do some crunches. I can do 60 of them now. I then rinse off my face in a cold glass crystal bowl filled with mineral water. I like Topo Chico because it's affordable at the gas station. After wasting about 2 liters of ice cold water from the fridge, I prepare to rinse myself off. I have a firm shaving routine to ensure that I can get away with any kind of facial hair because I am black and I can use that card against any of my coworkers at work regarding dress code. As you can tell, I serve in the military.
No, I was going to say...
I'm having a little too much fun already. I just said I was going to be good, and here I am being dad in the first 15 minutes.
No, I was going to say we need an edit of the morning routine guy in the shape store. Have you seen the
gosh,
shape store?
That has been... Can we pull that up, Gio? Pull up the Scorched Earth policy tweet. That is so good. He is an artist. I'm not big on the whole posting... but that one was really good. He's got so many bangers. I got to go find the Shape Store.
Yeah, the Shape Store.
The Shape Store tweet. That
video was crazy though. That was a great video though. That's like,
I mean, that's AI, right?
That's AI. Yeah.
I mean, it's impressive AI. Like,
it's not just a straight up AI video. I think there was some work done.
I'm sure there might have been some work done. I'm gonna go read. Okay, so I'm not gonna pull it up. I mean, I'm gonna read this for you. I'm not gonna read all of this because some of this is incredibly.
I'll read you the part. My favorite part. I'll read you my favorite part.
Okay. Go ahead and read it.
So this is the middle of it where he says
I'll put it in chat so people have an idea of what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah. The Shape Store is the perfect balance between form and formlessness. The shapes are hard enough to retain their shape, yet soft enough to throw or be thrown into without pain or injury. It is a colorful padded room where nobody can harm anybody. Much like basketball, it allows for the furthest display of violence and aggression without actually having to cross into the realm of consequences. Objects can be thrown at any time for any reason without consideration, but unlike a snowball fight, nobody has to deal with the labor of constructing something. The Shape Store's only bodies of water are all 1 foot shallow, making sure that nobody ever has to swim. The Shape Store is pristine theatrics, a place where the inner primate... Get up! Okay, I'm not going to read that part. No, I'm not gonna read that. That was... Like, it was... there was... I'm in like one of these alt-writers chats, and it's like I could never compete with that level. Like from the philosophic breakdown of like what, for example, what like a Baudrillard would say about it, to like the polemics of like online racism. Like
I did my favorite part was this. The Shape Store is perfect in that it is a store where nobody ever pays for anything and everyone is a customer. The shapes are abundant, but each one is unique. The 12 basic shapes and 6 basic colors available are essentially infinity to a certain mind. The endless dimensionality of 2 mirrors facing against each other, allowing for the satisfaction of eternity while heavily reducing the RAM usage on God's computer.
That was great.
Oh,
I could never. Yeah, that's like, you know how like the original developers, the British team of GTA, how they discovered by fractaling the data and like the load screen could like it could alleviate a lot of the pressure on the data in the disk itself by having it load as you go. It's sort of like that. Like it's like I mean, but that's like a philosophic quandary of like, yeah, you know, you could go into a very like, you know, haggling over AI and simulation, so on and so forth. But like that was great though. That one part of it was like incredible. But the Shape Store. No, but what was I gonna say? How much did you pay the state of Texas to get married?
$80.
$80. Okay.
And then I had to pay $14 to file it after I got married.
So, you know, with your $80, you could go to giantproductions.com. What's an $80? Here you go. You could buy an $80.
He's like, do I have something I can actually shill for $80?
An $80 planner painting. And I have, let's see if I could skip through the naughty one. Go to giantproductions.com and it's going to be money well spent.
You can buy 120 shapes for that.
You can buy 120 shapes. Yeah. So there you go. And also, Steve, those super chats. It helps out the channel. This is what I do.
This is Gio's full-time job because he's got it made. I work 3.
Well, I wouldn't say I have it made, but it's far from being made.
Speak for yourself.
That could have been a Canadian joke right there. Far from being. That could be like
far from being made. I might make that the title of next week's episode. We are the last 2 Tuesdays of the month, the 24th and the 31st, will be our paid Code Chaos reviews. But next Tuesday, I'm gonna like that far from being made, getting made, or having it made. That's pretty good. I like that. That's good.
That's good. Oh my god. But anyways,
Prude, wouldn't you rather spend it on Polymarket? No, I actually don't do I don't do any gambling, Tweed Jacket enthusiast.
You can make money on Polymarket.
I'm sure you can. I just don't gamble. It's so funny. Like when I lived in El Paso,
I think it's in USD.
It's in USD. Okay, so
Gio, come on, man, like $80.
Gio uses the correct currency. Gio knows that he has to use the imperial currency. He knows.
No, but come on, man. It's like for a whole painting. I mean, well, there's some that are more expensive because they're more expensive to ship.
Yeah, man, like 80 Canadian dollars, dude. That's $40. That's a steal. I can buy that.
No, I think it's an American. I think.
Oh, I figured it would be an. Actually, I can just go to Giant Art Productions right now and just find out. Actually,
find out. Well, yeah, you're American, so yeah, find out. Yeah, I think it's
giantartproductions.com, right? That's what it is.
Yep, giantartproductions.com.
Reload. Why is it not letting me go to Giant Art Productions? What the hell? Giant Art. Oh, because I spelled it wrong like a retard. Giga Art Productions. Whoops. That'll fucking do it.
I could have started off with that one.
You should have done that. Yeah, giantartproductions.com. Let it load, and then I'll be able to Giant Art Productions. No, that's in USD. Okay,
there you go. No, but still in USD. Come on, man. Like that's. Well, with shipping, obviously, it will be a bit more.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, it's a whole painting. I mean, the more I try to price by size as well, and also by shipping weight. So I just don't want to.
I need to now buy one of your paintings because I bought I bought a charcoal sketch of The Passion from Matthew the Stoat, so I need to patron the artist friends.
But anyways,
I'm not a gambling man though. I'm not going to go spend it on.
I have cheaper ones though. Like I have prints that are cheaper, and I have smaller works that are cheaper. So I'll definitely load the field with cheaper works as well for people. But
chat to our Catholic friends in chat who are Americans. Do any of you actually go to Long John Silver's?
I think that's a meme, but I'm pretty sure.
I know it's a meme, but it's one, like, I guess cheap seafood fast food place, or are you all just like chilling with the fillet? Did I ever watch Mick Jugger? I love that name already. No, I don't think I ever did.
That was the guy, like, he lawn mowed his kids' video games.
Oh my gosh.
Those videos were kind of funny.
So,
but
okay, I've been wanting to tell someone about this. On YouTube, there has been, for like the last couple of weeks, there has been a hand animated series called Swarm, and it is a cosmic horror from the perspective of mosquitoes.
Whoa!
And it's like the human is the scary thing. And there's like 5 episodes out so far. And it's like, how will we defeat the giant? And it's like, our priests have conjured something. We call it malaria. And it's just like, this is actually really, really good.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I've never been to Long John Silver's. Had McDonald's and Wendy's fillets during Lent, though. Okay, there you go.
There you go.
Oh, Chick-fil-A does the fish fillet. I didn't know that. That's good.
Yeah, they think they do it now. Yeah.
Well, they should. They were like, how do we keep the like Lord's chicken viable during Lent? Sir, we cater to the Catholics. Behold, a tilapia. Oh my gosh. That makes sense. That's good. Yeah, but eating fast food is against the spirit of Lent, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't eat out during Lent. I make a lot of. He threw a kid's Wii U through a wood chipper and took a chainsaw to his Xbox in the video. It was all fake, but it was better than any TV soap opera. So true.
I believe Mick Juggernuggets was the guy that gave, the guy that gave Boogie bad financial advice to gamble all his money on some like shitcoin, and like. That's how Boogie lost all of his money because of McJuggernuggets. So there you go. That's a bit of internet lore. But anyways, there was a lot of things that happened. So please need those super chats. There's a lot of things that happened over our absence.
What did happen, Gio?
Well, I mean, the big thing being from what happened this week, but I mean, the other big thing was, let's just call him Mr. Jeffrey. Let's just say that.
Mr. Jeffrey, do you have an email for me?
I had a remix of
I did enjoy the Clintons getting, I guess, like a deposition, or they were at a hearing for that. And
Bill was like
looking at all the photos, like
just having some nostalgic moment.
He was doing my old man voice, except he is an ancient old man. He's like, I remember when.
I remember that shit.
The AI voice with Trump. It's just like, and Bill was taking the kids around. He thought he had a big dick. No, it's a little dick, like a little.
Just a little taste of her flesh. Yeah. Yikes. That was great. I actually have that. Nobody's uploaded that since.
Oh yeah, Mr. Frog's best friend, Smiling Friends, is dying after the 3rd season. And so whatever happens now, I guess it's going to be, I can blame it on Glep now, you know.
They should have took it to 5 seasons. I think like 5 is a good round off.
I mean, sure, but I mean the creators made the decision and not the studio. So this is the 2nd time I have been screwed by Adult Swim, where my favorite Chud show is going to end on the 3rd season. It's now Smiling Friends, and then before that it was China, Illinois, and so I'm just depressed.
Well, Super Jail only had 2 seasons.
That is true. Super Jail is fucking Kino.
Same with Wonder Shows in it. Well, no, I mean even Xavier.
Oh yeah. Jorge's asking the right question. How's your book coming along, Gio?
Well, apparently Matthew said the editing's done, so I have to like it's been a while since I contacted my editor. I have to get on that. But I wanted to give him like the actual manual. But I mean, there's some parts that have to like heavily rework though, like in hindsight. But and World Peace. I think like the second, to be honest with you, Gondola, the second season, I didn't really like. It was a hit or miss for me. Like it was kind of like, anyways, not to bash like MD, but like no. So the files, the discourse over it. If you want more of my in-depth opinion, I have an episode on it with the War Report, which I probably will be going on this week as well to cover more of the Iranian situation. But you haven't given your, I guess, I mean, I shouldn't force you to give a take, but like you talk mostly about, because I've kind of not I had this whole article that I wanted to write, but I realized that it was probably better served in audio form, and it was more about me expressing my venom towards the discourse around it rather than
I hope all of my
work.
I hope all of our Texas listeners voted in the primaries. I did at lunch today. I voted.
Oh, there's a primary in Texas?
Yeah, I think it's primary day in most places. Well, at least in Texas it is. So Texas. If you are a Democrat or you decided to vote in the Democratic primary, you had the choices between James Tallarico and Jasmine Crockett, who is currently hosting a rally outside right now at the Dallas African American Museum in Dallas County over alleged voter suppression, because I think in some places they switched from county voting centers to precincts. So people are pissed about that. So I guess we'll keep watching the ballots, because I think the polls literally just closed 30 minutes ago. So we'll just go over here and I'll keep the results posted as we all go along. I wondered if Smiling Friends was canceled because of the Paramount Warner Bros. Buyout. No, it was not, because it was not something. It was the creator's decision. It's that simple. There's kind of, comedy in 2026 is a miracle if anything is funny anymore. Yeah. All I got is either they passed the SAVE Act or there's 0 point voting. Yeah, no, that is absolutely true. Although Texas has like some relatively robust voter ID. But I went, yes, the Magic Black Lady is running for Senate in Texas. And allegedly, according to some writer, like according to James Lynch, she bought into it because the National Republican Senatorial Committee put her in some polls out to voters as an option for the Democratic primary, and they gave her a half decent shot. And Jasmine Crockett, being the magical black lady that she is, said that she could do it because the rising star at the time was James Tallarico. And now a lot of polls make it look like, and we'll see how it goes tonight, that she was actually that she might actually beat James Tallarico to run in the Senate against either John Cornyn or Ken Paxton for the Republican nomination for the U.S. Senate. So we'll see what happens. I voted for Ken Paxton because John Cornyn had announced that he was open to some kind of amnesty package, to which I say, fuck that. And so I voted for someone who is against that. So that's sort of the way that it's going to be. But yeah, then everything else has been happening. We've February was filled with decadence. It was filled with a lot of movement of U.S. military personnel and things like that. Now that the war's taken place, I don't think that it's going to be, as I've expressed long before, I don't think it's going to be in American interest in the long term. But as things are unfolding, I don't like the fact that our foreign policy is so tightly close to a certain nation in the Middle East. I don't like the fact that these are the way that it's going. I pray that it comes to a swift end, but I don't see that happening. My deepest fear is that we create another Syria-like conflict in the Middle East. And
only 10 times worse, obviously.
I really don't want that to happen. Also, my problem with a lot of American intervention in the Middle East anyway is that it creates a refugee crisis that inevitably impacts our allies in the West, which is the Europeans, and I don't want that to happen either. So
and economically too, and well, that's
and then the what else did we miss? We missed the Olympics. The Olympics happened. What's your take on that Hoppa chick, Gio?
I think it's
I like how Twitter
crazy.
has moved from some other kind of like bizarro mix, ideology to another one. Like we went from, you remember Castizo futurism? Yeah. And now we're on like Hoppa Gattaca eugenics.
That's what I wanted to write about though, with the Iranian thing though is that it's a weird form of like psychoactual politics via like the strange westernized Orientalism by like fetishizing the other. Like you saw this one deranged take on that the Hoppa skater where like you know the one the MAGA you know what she's bratty and kinky like it's like what are you doing man like what are you people doing like it's just first of all like I like what she didn't actually remove her pronouns in her bio and she's probably a lib like it's just it's stupid it's like it's I don't know man it's like but the hockey thing was also equally ridiculous like there are people that are like you know let's trade Austin Matthews not because he chokes in the playoffs every year to which they're not even going to make the playoffs this year let's trade him because he shook hands with Donald Trump. It's like, you know, as critical as I am of Trump, it's like the reason these people are critical is because, like, it's like some kind of like moral thing, even though it's kind of funny the way though the Democrat Party is also going along with war in Iran, but for different reasons we'll get into. But it's like, bro, he's the captain of Team USA, and Jack Hughes. It wasn't Quinn Hughes, it was Jack Hughes that scored the game-winning goal. It's like, you know, like, come on, they're Americans. Like, what do you want? Like, you're not, it's the first in a lifetime opportunity to actually go to the White House and while you've won Olympic gold.
Yeah,
so I think
that almost never happens in any you know career of any professional athlete at all.
And I think it was the first time Team USA won since I think like the late 90s, since 98.
Yeah, it's been almost 30 years since the US took the gold in the Winter Olympics for men's hockey.
Because
I laughed because I didn't. I laughed really hard on Twitter because I lurked way more last month than anything else. But like apparently the game against Canada was apparently the same day 40 years ago for the Miracle on Ice in the 80s.
Yes.
And so when the White House posted the like same as before, now as today. And I was like, is this just like a really evil way of calling Canada a communist country? And then my mother was like, no. It's because of like the 40-year anniversary of the Miracle on Ice. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes way more sense. I had no idea. I really just thought that the White House was shitposting on Canada again because I was like, good God.
It almost didn't happen in 2002 when I was a kid because this Belarus like totally upset an absolutely stacked Team Sweden. Like they had Matt Sundin and Nicholas Lindstrom, but they managed to beat them. And then I remember like as a kid in my high school watching that game, Belarus versus Team Canada. And of course it was important for us in Ontario because Pat Quinn was the coach of Team Canada. And of course, you know, Pat Quinn was the coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs. But then, you know, it's Salt Lake City that was the important game against America. But no, I thought like the whole discourse around it was absolutely stupid. And there was a lot of people like in Canadian hockey Twitter or media people like that Steve Dangle guy that absolutely called out, which is, I have another point about that though, before we move on. Steve Dangle does this video about Austin Matthews and how terrible it is. And, you know, Trump wants to annex Canada and blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, Canadian leaf lib, right? But it's very funny how Mark Carney goes along with this war in Iran, like from day one, and all the leaf libs have to go along with it because, I don't know, because of TikTok dances, Palavist, women's rights, blah, blah, blah. And so it's very funny how it's like the same power that wants to annex Canada is good now when it comes to toppling the Ayatollah in Iran. It's these people don't think, nobody thinks, you know, people are very stupid. You know, like it's just, I don't know. I think the discourse was terrible and it was a huge distraction. And but anyways, what did you think about the hockey thing? And also like I understand like it was an uncouth joke for Trump to belittle the women's hockey team who also won in the finals. But again, it's
you know, I will say the women's versus men's hockey team was the I think Zero HP Lovecraft had also equally pointed out that like the reactions to their winning and the invitation to the White House and all the politicking behind it is the perfect example of current gender dynamics and discourse in the year of our Lord 2026, where it's just like women are becoming more liberal, men are becoming more conservative in whatever term that you may want to describe those things. Like, all right, guys, you got fresh and vit Zoomer Americans versus call her daddy Zoomettes. And it's just like, well, ain't that a nightmare of all nightmares?
Oh, and they wanted to say that they should trade Brady Tkachuk as the captain of the Ottawa Senators because Trump annexing Canada. It's like, okay, you're gonna trade the only player that like for multiple stretches of the year basically carries the whole. And I'm not a fan of the Tkachuks because of their actions on ice, but it's like, you know, the guy that like carries the whole team on his back for multiple stretches of the year, you're gonna trade him. And you know, I'll be honest, I've been very critical of Austin Matthews for his lack of performance, although the Maple Leafs have been a disaster this year. But no, I think the whole thing was stupid. I mean, it was an uncouth joke. I understand it was belittling the women's hockey team. But anyways, the files. I've talked it to no end, but I guess the floor is yours.
So we just take a break for a month and it's like, hey, Matt, we need you to give me every take you have on every controversial issue. I see how this works. I see through.
No. If you don't,
I hear you.
We don't have to talk about it because it seems that
and it's still ongoing. That is true. It really is still ongoing. I think whatever may have or have not happened regarding said files is like, like I had said when all this stuff was like finally being disclosed, it was just like, well, everything related to it was going to be announced. So a lot of people, like libs, immediately went to the tip lines and ran with it. And then a lot more other people started going through and seeing what was being organized and who was being associated with the list. And it's just like, yeah, it's the eternal summer, as Randall Shirker points out in chat. Like it's one of those things where it's going to be, I think, immortalized in the American conspiratorial tradition. So, I mean, like baby boomers, of course, have the Kennedy assassination.
Yeah.
And, Gen Xers, I guess you could say they have 9/11, so do millennials. But like, I guess for Zoomers and I guess the greater American zeitgeist of political conspiracy will always be the Epstein files. Yeah. And I don't see that really going away. Because, I mean, even before the stuff got disclosed and even before the election, everyone and their mother had been somewhat covering it, even Flush Simulator before he had taken this turn of like listening to the right more. And yeah, the Gen X had Iran Contra. That is true. They were kids for Iran-Contra. I guess
that was more of like a late boomer thing.
I guess, like I mean, if you're an Ollie North stan or whatever, and Ruby Ridge, yeah. So Waco and Ruby Ridge definitely more like Gen X's conspiracy stuff. Not to mention, like I guess
and Cobain as well, which also got
Cobain. Oh my gosh, we have and then the whole
Alan Wrench did it. Alan Wrench theory vindicated. But anyways,
despite the fact that he probably would be the most insufferable, like
be worse than Steve Albini,
machine artist, if he were alive today, I imagine. Oh yeah, and Oklahoma City. That also happened. That happened the year I was born. So I mean, it's really weird too because my dad was like stationed around that area too. I'm glad that the format hasn't changed. Yeah, the format's not going to change. Why would we change it?
No.
So I don't know. Like I said, it's going to be an immortalized part of American conspiratorial culture. Because Americans love, everyone loves a good conspiracy theory. We still talk about the fucking Illuminati hundreds of years later. So I think that overall, no one's going to be satisfied with anything that gets disclosed. And the avenues that people want to take in order to find some understanding of justice is going to be, it's not going to be achieved. I know that someone tried to assassinate the president over claims regarding to the files, which I know a lot of people took with and ran with. The call-in show was a very special event. That was very fun. We should do that like every 50 or 100 episodes.
Oh yeah.
But so I mean, overall, I don't think anyone's going to be satisfied with it. And now that stuff has been disclosed per the law, regardless of the redactions, regardless of the names listed, regardless of who's being deposed by Congress, I don't think anyone will be satisfied, and it will continue to be this issue that everyone can run with for their respective particular parapolitical understanding of the world, which is really tragic because I think that at the heart of it all is that you have wealthy individuals who may or may not be allegedly connected to either Israeli intelligence or other wealthy, well-to-do elites and other businessmen who are all connected, who enjoy women who may be under the age of consent in their respective territories, and will happily try to use access and pay for play in order to grease the wheels of diplomacy, international trade and finance, and everything. And so we kind of got a peek behind the magical curtain of the Wizard of Oz, and it is simultaneously mundane, depressing, depraved, and awful. And no one will be satisfied, and it will continue to be an issue that people will hammer on for their respective political clout chasing, policy issues, and any semblance of quote unquote justice will never be achieved, regardless of what your interpretation of justice looks like. And I think that that's going to be the real unfortunate consequence of all of this. And of course, it doesn't help the administration that like every libtard from like Midas Media or whatever runs with the tip line, and it's like, well, he was doing this and he was eating flesh, and it's just like, well, that came from the tip line. There are other things that are, I think, far more damning in the actual emails that make it look bad.
Yeah, the FBI really screwed up with that, by the way.
But you know, it's the same thing with George Floyd, and I guess to now some extent with Charlie Kirk, where someone famously dies and they immediately have been resurrected into this disgusting avatar of digital necromancy. And it is evil, and I do not like it in any way, shape, or form. Like, the guy's not a hero. He's not someone that you want to support. It's not someone that I want to emulate in any way, shape, or form. And so it's like he's up there. They've turned Charlie Kirk into like an AI Kirkinator cyborg. They've turned George Floyd, of course, has turned into like a Solana coin, George Droid thing. And it's very strange to really see all that take place with this character, when it's just like, actually, there's a lot more disgusting and depraved things and greater geopolitical implications that Faraz has covered on the Lotus Eaters, and he did an episode with Oren. And it's just like, also, like, you got to see how these people like talk about you, and they have a blatant hatred for you, and they really do look at you like you're lesser. And it's just like, you can go read this for yourself. It's just like, I have no love for this guy, no love for the ties that he had, and no love for the nation that he may or may not have been serving any sort of interests for. So it's just like, this is not good, and I don't like it. And unfortunately, just like with every other major political scandal, like the Warren Commission, or even you could say like the 9/11 Commission, any real truth or any real answers are not going to be found. They will be suppressed. And the people that try to search for answers will be thrown under the bus by loudmouths who will take it for a conspiratorial, bread and circuses, rather than what actually took place and what can actually dots that can be connected. And so some of the worst actors in the world who may have been associated with that list, yes, there's been an arrest. I think although the Prince Andrew got out 12 hours later, some people have resigned. Some people have tried to end their own lives. But it's just like, there's no real justice that's going to take place here. And that's the disgusting part about all of it. And the full aspect of the networking and everything else will probably not really come out for months on end, because there is just so much data to chew through, and you'd have to really spend some time doing that. And then, of course, everyone won't be happy anyways, because either doesn't fit the exact parameters of your conspiracy theory or who you want to pin this on. But at the end of the day, it's just like, oh, wow, a group of very well-to-do people across the world who tend to have very similar either like co-ethnic or co-religionist ties, really enjoyed peddling, wheeling and dealing, pay for play, and basically we got to see how they view us and view the world. And it was just like, oh, none of this is pleasant and none of this is good. And it is a real tragedy that it has turned into sort of the farcical shit show that it is, because it's like there's a lot more deeper things that you could look at here, like our relationship to various billionaires, the American government's relationship to various foreign powers, and how we use these sort of rich, well-to-do people and their connections to other countries to do that. So it's just like, at the end of the day, the file stuff continues to be this sort of spectacle that I don't think means that you're going to see a real answer to that. And it's just very frustrating.
Yeah, that was a perfect answer. I think, as I said before,
your racist uncle and vindicated yet again. Yeah, pretty much, Randall Shirker. Pretty much.
Yeah. I said this on the War Report, but also while I was trying to write this article, I was researching a lot. The notion, like the Zuzackian notion of like the parallax, and how he has this one analogy where you know, there's a protest against a political leader and they're wearing, do you remember those like George Bush masks
Yeah.
back in the day? They were wearing, this protest was wearing the mask of this corrupt political leader, and they're about to storm his office. But then he dons one of his own masks and he escapes in the crowd, because then he becomes like every other protester rather than the site of protest. And so it's a way of like, to Zizek, that was an analogy of how things often hide within their double, or with their double articulation of a context that is of the same visage, the same faciality, but totally different in context and kind, even though it's like you're hiding in the mask of yourself, right? So I think like the files, it really does reveal the tendency that people have when something is so monumental in terms of how global power actually operates in a managerial state around the globe, the global managerial system, where we think that we're sort of beyond the machinations of direct personal power of kings and monarchs and very powerful influence of people directly, but yet personalized power persists. But the way they do it is sort of like this externalization of the method, right? It's sort of like they're hiding it in plain sight, and the revelation of the actual files itself serves in a very terrible, but in some ways clever way, a way of revealing how power operates, but landing in such a way that not only are you not going to do anything about it, because action in that context, by the breadth and the depth of how deep it really goes, is impossible, but it hides itself through the sort of mimetic aura that people are creating by talking about the files in a weird way. It's hiding itself within itself by the sort of phenomenon of Jeffrey, by his visage, by the disclosure, by the debate over disclosure, by the way that various political factions have made hay out of it. It's like the sort of mimetic apparatus hides this actual terrifying reality of it. It hides it within itself. It hides it in plain sight. And the immediate impotency by which the actual act of disclosure serves as action, that to me, I think, is the problem that a lot of conspiracy thinking, the conspiracy movement itself, has suffered for generations now. The mere act of disclosure serves as a catharsis of power rather than any sort of political consequence to this type of activity. So I think that's why there is the way it was disclosed became this media phenomenon rather than a program of political reform or political action that could potentially be taken for various nefarious actors involved with Jeffrey. And so, and another thing too, the people that, in a lot of ways, especially in the North American context, when it comes to the political right in general, the conspiracy movement has basically been a foundational cornerstone of a lot of right-wing thought. You could say it's bad. You could say that that's that's something we should move on from. But at the end of the day, a lot of that type of thinking in terms of the way that popular right-wing thought formulates power has been through the conspiracy movement, has been through conspiratorial thinking, right? And to me, the way that a lot of people have basically punted the files to the political left, to me, was a terrible miscalculation. Not to say the, all the other stupid thought terminating cliches that goes with it. It's conspiracy and it's third worldist and it's this and that, and it's distracting from the real issue. And of course, a lot of it is because of, political partisanship of people that have crafted their identities around certain political figures for the past 10 years. And I understand that. But I just think that there could have been a way of going about it that was more mature and less panicky and less sort of, I'm given I'm given only one option to express my political and cultural desires, and anything that disrupts it must be a disruption of it in toto. And I think that to play political games at that level, with instead of like what should have been, which was, this is a way of giving me insight into how political power operates within the 21st century. And that is a vital tool. Whether you want to slough off the more outrageous claims is understandable. But in general, the way that power actually operates in the world that we live in today is at least partially given an insight into by the release of this thing. So I think, like, in general, the discourse around it, the way that online take sellers have approached it, not all of them, but certainly a lot of them, is just, to me, was upsetting, to say the least. I think that could have been done better. I think that it wouldn't have given the political left a lot of rhetorical tools if there wasn't this immediate, like, circling of the wagons around certain political movements and figures. And I think that it could have been parsed out in a different manner. And also, all the stupid, ridiculous memes and rhetoric and minimizing it is just, I mean, I pretty much said my piece in the report, so I'll probably say that we have to talk about Iran. But you get what I mean, Prude. I hope I was being I'm trying to be diplomatic, but I think that it is obviously, to me, very insightful. And I mean, obviously, some of it, like the way the FBI put in reports, they could have differentiated call-in reports differently. Who knows if there was other files that were also redacted. A lot of them were heavily redacted. They say that they're going to release more. I just think that in some ways, the release of them happened the way it was going to happen, given the nature of, like, online spectacle reality, given the nature of, like, psychopolitics in the internet age. People were going to inevitably treat it as like a meme object rather than a sober reflection of how power actually operates. And so, call me like a conspiracy theorist or whatever. I mean, obviously I have a lot of romantic notions of conspiracy theory. Like, I've obviously been interested in them for a very long time, but I just think that the way it was entirely predictable what was going to happen when they were released. And so, yeah.
In Austin, Texas, or at least in Travis County, James Tellerico is pretty far ahead. I'm just going to give little occasional updates throughout the stream. But no, so I mean, we'll see what happens there between Crockett and whatnot. But no, I mean, again, like, conspiratorialism has gotten mainstreamed, obviously, and not just because of like Candace Owens or Ian Carroll, but like it has been. I'm not on TikTok, for example, but my wife is, and I really wish she wasn't sometimes. But like occasionally, I mean, most of her feed anyway is like pretty like normie TV stuff, and then recipes. But then out of nowhere, it's stuff about the files, it's stuff about Israel and Gaza, it's stuff, and I mean, like, it's just very interesting to witness from a platform I'm not familiar with. My wife is pretty apolitical, but like she's just like, but then randomly she'll ask me questions. She's like, so how much influence does Israel have on America? And I'm like, that's once you go down this rabbit hole, honey, it's a little hard to dig yourself out. But like, it's the same thing with like the files or anything else like that. There has been a commoditization and a commercialization of conspiratorialism, which I think is sometimes very deliberate, because if you can drown out an effective K line of knowledge that would actually give you a pretty good understanding of where things are with these respective items, it can be drowned out easily by loud, boisterous voices or people who are, paid or make money or take money to give you the friendly thing, right? There's a reason why a lot of people joke about like the $7,000 club. There's a lot of reasons why, like, you're all just trying to follow a certain model of content. And I mean, it's you see this being boosted algorithmically anyway. Like you want to be the guy that, you know, has the definitive take, that has the, you know, Higgs boson-esque, you know, explanation for all things related to conspiracies. You want to find Pepe Silva and end this, right, and end it for good, and like finally uncover the truth. And for a split second, at least for about the last year, and really it's been longer than that, obviously, but everyone's kind of turned into Fox Mulder. And you have a lot of things that you can substantiate. Some of it you can't, but it all is too circumstantial for you to like not throw the search for the truth away. And I think that that's really the tragic part, because obviously there are people that want the truth. There are people that want answers. There are people that really want us to be less dependent on how easy the dog can be wagged in order for us to go and do certain actions. I'm trying to be very careful with my language with the stream, but like it's very blatant, right, that the debate and sort of the term pulled out here is that like the question over, you know, like right now on the timeline, because like I've not been posting or tweeting a lot lately, and I've been cleaning up my TL history and cleaning up my timeline on who I follow and what's muted and what isn't. But like it has been interesting to watch the debate happen over, even like with the stuff with Iran, you know, like and people are like, well, we're very cautious about the history of American foreign policy and intervention in the Middle East, whether it's Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, our fight with ISIS, our strikes against Iran just like 8 months ago, where we said that, like, you know, we destroyed the nuclear facilities. And then the very careful language that I think was very deliberate from the Secretary of State about, you know, well, Israel was planning to do this anyway, and we knew that there was going to be retaliation, so we felt like we were going to join in.
We had the MB4.
Yeah, right. And of course, there was foreknowledge of this. Also, we had been moving a great deal of American essence for like the last 2.5 months as the American government was trying to negotiate. Then, of course, the Venezuela thing. I mean, Central and North American policy is a little different because there is a historical model that you could actually articulate from, like with the 1920s, an American intervention in Central and South America. But like that comes from like a progressive era of foreign policy that would be more like if Madison Grant were writing American foreign policy rather than what we have now. And then at the same time, like, you know, the cheering it on and things like that. I have said prior to the election that I take the psalmist's words very seriously. Trust not in princes and the sons of men whom there is no salvation. I don't think Trump's my savior. I think Trump buys me time. And the good that Trump does domestically are the important things that I want him to continue to focus on. But I also know, and Orrin McIntyre and I talked about this after the Venezuela thing, so literally just a couple months ago, that it's like it is tragic that the American president is more sovereign abroad than he is sovereign at home, and that Congress has abdicated its responsibility. You have a judicial activism of Star Wars named judicial judges appointed by Obama and Biden. Like Jeremy Carl pointed out that like the overrepresentation of immigrant and non-white judicial judges in the Biden administration has been higher than any other Democrat ever. And it's overrepresentation per, you know, their proportion of the population is outstanding. And so on top of all that, it literally is a cold ethnic conflict at home between those that would rightly identify themselves as Americans versus those that hate the country and identify them as elsewhere. And like, and Rashida Tlaib and others, like they literally call the United States they. They're not American. They will never be American. I don't identify with this country, and they hate this country. They shouldn't be here to begin with. And it's a really weird day when Randy Fine, of all people, is like calling for deportation and denaturalization. Like, you know, politics makes for odd bedfellows. But like, I also know that there's some like personal ulterior motive with him, obviously.
Well, that's I mean,
oh yeah, like I don't need to state the obvious, like duh,
right.
You know, like it's a well-known thing. But at the same time, right, like I think that the American
they've also sold war with Iran to the Democrats as well. We could get into that too, but
I mean, Democrats are anti-war when a Republican doesn't. The Democrats are pro-war when a Democrat does. It's like, this is true. Like, I mean, Obama campaign. Let's not forget, Obama campaigned on closing Gitmo, getting us out of the Middle East, and focusing on home. Gitmo never closed. We did the troop surge in 2009 in Afghanistan. We didn't pull out of Iraq until 2011, and even then we didn't really leave. And we continue our presence in Afghanistan until Biden closed it up in a humiliating way to where the Taliban now rules Afghanistan. Yeah. And but I mean, like, Dems didn't really care, and the only people who really did care were like very like libertarian aligned some Democrats, and of course, like libertarian-minded Republicans who are concerned about like FISA and Section like 701 and other things regarding FISA warrants and spying in the NSA. But even then, like those things feel like they're real issues, and they shouldn't be disregarded. But the stakes at home, because of Biden opening the borders and the entire Democratic platform in my entire adult life has been let's ethnically cleanse the white guy out of the country and out of business and out of any form of success, to make them low status and to be the butt of every joke in media and television, to make them the villain in everything. That's like everything feels existential, to where like the actual policy and the ins and outs of how the government works feels so secondary to the vibes-based impulsiveness everyone has. And then as we talked about like the digital hysteria cycle a couple months back, and I wrote about that too, like it's really frustrating to watch because I don't think like, it's funny because Dimes and I covered, spinal catastrophism to a point where it's kind of become a meme with that show. But like, the human body reacts to acceleration very differently. Like, of course, with like the railroads, you had railway spine. And now I think with how fast the timeline moves discursively, I think we have our own equivalent of that to some extent with our brains. I think for a lot of people, the psyche isn't necessarily equipped to handle it. I think this is why we say nothing ever happens as a form of McLuhan-esque auto amputation. I think it's why we double down and we become increasingly tribal, because violence is a quest for identity. And so how are we violent on the timeline? Well, we quote tweet people, we get into drama, we
violence by proxy
in group chats to do little drive-by shootings on the TL with certain lines of argumentation.
You're keywording out. You're this. You're that.
Yeah. And it's very funny. There's a lot of things with regards to Yarvin I don't always agree with, but I thought Yarvin was very poignant when he said, if you present someone with two choices, they think that those are your only options. And isn't that a neat trick? Like it is a neat magic trick, because most people will fall into a dichotomy if they're presented with one. And so it's very easy to call people whatever slur that you have on your list today to do that. I think it's frustrating. I want the things that I want at home for domestic policy. I want them to increase. But as I said at the very beginning, when like the day after election day, like this is great because obviously Kamala would have been worse when it comes to the border still being open, and we wouldn't have like the ICE budget that we do. But like, I want the things happening domestically to stay at home. And the things I was worried about in that article the morning after kind of have all come true. The Democrats are going to use lawfare. They've been very successful at it so far with the judiciary, and it takes a long time for the Supreme Court to ever come up with an answer, although there have been good ones that come out. The continued subcontinentalification of the GOP continues at a rapid pace, where we're turning into the conservatives over in Britain. Apparently that's a class that, as much as they're despised on the internet, they're very well entrenched in Republican Party politics. And then the question over our relationship to Israel will be front and center in debate. And I don't know how it will be answered. Of course, I wrote that right after the election in 2024. A year and some changes passed, and it's like, well, there's obviously a lot of open problems here. But as I said in that article, like the admin buys you more time, and you should always be organizing. You should always be accumulating wealth and multiple income streams, ways in order to benefit yourself and your family, and to prioritize on the things that matter. Because, I don't know the vice president. I don't talk to anyone, I don't talk to a lot of people who work in the White House. I know some people who went on and worked there or have some minor role in like the bureaucracy and the executive branch, but like no one who can talk to the president and say, you need to do this. So it's like, well, the best I can do is I can focus on my wife, my immediate community. I engage locally here. City council knows me because I always go for public comment when they have a meeting. And it's just like, at the end of the day, you have to take into account of what you can actually do, and to not be so demoralized from thinking everything happens nationally that you can't do something at least immediately in your home.
Well, true. But I think that, well, what can I say? There is obviously everyone sort of, now this is outside looking in, but
oh yeah,
everyone sort of kind of knew that like Trump is still aligned with certain interests of the Republican Party that have always been there or have been there for a long time. And I think that I just don't see the translation between foreign actions and how it benefits. I mean, there's a potential risk that this could go very wrong for even people, economically, but let alone the American service people that have lost their lives. Um, and so I think that it's been pretty much a trend in the 20th and 21st century, let alone in antiquity, where rulers have traditionally had more leeway in terms of foreign expansion and foreign policy rather than the very complicated and entrenched and often implacable political interests that they face domestically. But I just think that I've seen a lot of takes about how this could benefit and translate into American right-wing victory at home. But I mean, that's yet to be seen, to say the least. I'm trying to choose my words carefully. But I also think that when it comes to the way that it seems there's really no clear plan to how to de-escalate or what the actual geopolitical goals are, apart from just the wanton destruction of Iran in general. I mean, there is other goals in mind that certain interests have, obviously, but I just think that the what was I going to say? There's so many things to talk about with this particular issue that it's sort of like there's so many things you want to mention, but you're sort of like lost in it, right? No, but
the signal to noise ratio has been
yeah,
atrocious.
There was I'll say one, and call me a moral F slur or not, but I'm not going to mention names. But there was one take I saw from a few people saying about that this is going to really make like leftoids like Hassan Piker really angry, and we're destroying all of their heroes like the Ayatollah in Venezuela with Maduro, but I'm thinking like it's just, to me, like that's such a very mediaized take in terms of online discourse, because you're willing to gamble with the lives of American soldiers to make a Twitch streamer angry. Like, it just, there's no self-reflection, there's no like super ego there to say that, wow, what if I can imagine myself in the mind of a normal person and I parse that logic out? It doesn't make sense, because not only that, but the average like normie liberal in America and elsewhere, they're not like really like principled quote unquote third worldists. They're not like, a lot of them actually are supporting war with Iran, but they do it for different reasons. They do it for these, like TikTok influencers who are Pahlavis, who are like, they're like diaspora that are very personally liberal and secular and rootless and cosmopolitan, but they're like they're pro like bloody imperial expansionist war, and also the redacting of their fellow country people. It makes no sense, right? But notice how the Democrats haven't been this vocal against Trump's actions, because they have different reasons to buy into. You mentioned the Obama years. But so they have a different reason for buying into this. And of course, for the political right, they have all like the thing about, like we're going to get our Mena baddies and all this. It's very, very weird form of like internet-based online, like actual Orientalism that both sides have. One is the sort of like, look at these, brave girl boss Iranian women posting with the TikTok dances. And of course, the other one is sort of like, Gooner Orientalism. And it's very weird. It's very strange. And so to me, like when people make takes about, well, this is going to piss off the other side, it's just, these are people's lives. It's real political consequences to these things. And I think like the lack of self-reflection to be a part of a political brand or like an identity group is just, it's nonsense to me. It's like, it's very sad. And you could say like, I'm whatever. And there was one person that said, I was talking online about the munition stockpiles that even like mainstream policy institutes like the Institute for the Study of War, which are traditionally neoconservative, or rather, even during the Obama years, bought into like or manufactured consent for the whole like humanitarian interventionism that Obama was doing. And someone said like, aren't you just an artist? It's like, okay, I think credentialism is obviously bullshit, right? Because if you're someone who is an online personality and you've been talking about something for a long time, you know, I can read policy papers. You know what I mean? Like I can read, right? But also like, you know, I went to school for politics. You know, I have a master's in political science. Not that it means anything. I mean, academia doesn't mean a lot of anything anymore, but it's like, you know, I studied under someone who is like the top Sovietologist in Canada. I studied under someone who is the top China expert in Canada. And that may not mean something, but it's like, it's just the stupid attitude where it's like people, they can't think critically about what you're actually saying. So therefore they have to cloak it in this mask of like, you are part of this group who is bought into like this mimetic current that I'm against because I have to defend this other mimetic current. It's just like, it's like, you're talking about something, an event that could potentially change the course of the 21st century. Now, barring this sort of like nothing ever happens thesis, where could this be like the 12-day war where both parties realizes it's not worth it and there's some kind of begrudging agreement that takes place? That's a very real possibility as well. But there's also an equally real possibility that this could extend for months, if not years, in some form or another. And so I think that seriously taking into consideration the capabilities that both sides have, you know, the past 3 years, Americans' munition stocks have become depleted because of the war in Ukraine and because of what happened with Gaza. It's like, those are legitimate questions. So I think like a lot of people aren't really seriously invested in critically thinking about it, but they're creating this sort of like miasma of noise where it comes down to defending my political brand over sober self-reflection and also sober political analysis over events that have potentially huge and catastrophic consequences for generations to come. And I think like that to me ultimately is the problem with a lot of online discourse around these events. And so, you know, you've essentially taken out their, I mean, there's debates over whether Khamenei, like, you know, if he was on his last legs, and so he realized that optically it would be a huge victory. Whatever, that's a debate, right? But at the same time, it's like this thing feels way different than the 12-day war. It feels like the stakes are higher. A lot of people are going mask off on all sides with their intentions with it, and going so far as to, you know, redact the Ayatollah seems like a next level of escalation on the global stage with Middle Eastern politics. And so I think that a lot of people should really be more serious with what they're putting out there. And that's all I'll say, if I haven't pissed people off enough. But yeah, I mean, there's more things I could say, but like, you know what I mean, in terms of this issue.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of our issues, I think a lot of our positions on this are very similar, Geo, in the sense that like a lot of this is still going to play out in the days that unfold. A lot of this is going to, again, the signal to noise ratio online is going to be terrible. And there's going to be a lot of cheering on. There's going to be a lot of immediate criticisms of people who I think have very reasonable concerns. Like, it's very interesting that like Matt Walsh kind of was very apprentive.
I was actually shocked at Matt Walsh.
I was surprised. I was expecting him to signal on and kind of like rah about it. Right. And I was like, oh, well, like actually some of this is pretty sensible in regards to like our history of interventionism. And it's like, well, a lot of people are just kind of throwing him off to the side or attacking him in the replies. And it's just like, you and I have both been on the record of being like, well, I'm very ambivalent about American foreign policy in the Middle East because a lot of it is so heavily entwined with our relationship to Israel. And so it's just like, that's a very valid concern that it seems to be right now at the centerfold of all things, which is that like you either you find that to be a very primary driver for how you want to look at this thing politically. And then there are others that it's just like, well, we don't need that right now, or we don't need that kind of criticism. And it's just like, well, I think that these debates need to happen. They don't need to be done in a way where like I become a traitor or a petty revolutionary in the way that like Lothrop Stoddard talks about it, or like I hate the system so much I'm going to side with my enemies. Like, no, like those guys hate me too. Like I know that. Like it's very true. It's very obvious. And it's not like there's not one party in here that's like squeaky, sparkling clean. Obviously not. But at the same time, it's just like I'm more concerned about the greater consequences of like, am I causing a refugee crisis? Am I gonna? Not me. I'm just using like the royal pronoun here, but it's just like, are those things going to take place? And I certainly don't want them to, because I don't want this. I don't need Europe to have another wave of refugees, because they're still controlled by, globalist anti-European libtards that want this like European technocracy, but also you have left-wing politicians in France that embrace the Great Replacement openly. And then at the same time, it's just like, I also don't want another.
There was that Spanish politician recently. If I recall.
Yeah, that too. Where they they naturalized, like, what was it, 50,000 or was it 500,000? I mean, either way, that number's too high. Period. None of them should have been. They should have all been repatriated. And remigration is there. And not to mention all the crap that's going on in England right now with Rupert Lowe and Restore Britain. Some people say it's like a DeSantis style ploy to like move reform or the conservatives further to the right. But like even then they use the phrase ethno-nationalism to shut it down. So, and reform is arguing that they're the ones that will have like, net, zero migration. It's just like, I don't know how true that is, considering how reform is easily catered and picked the bones off of a lot of conservative Tory members of parliament over to their side, and at the same time catering to specific like subcontinental populations as well. It's like, oh great, so we've become the Tories of Canada. Like that's not good either. And it's like really tragic that like the Anglosphere writ large is taking the turn that it has. And I mean, Australia is no better. And the treatment of people who are concerned about the demographics of Australia has been fucking beyond Orwellian and beyond Soviet in the way that they've been treated. And that's really tragic too. So it's like, I think that there's a weird way where you have to thread a very careful needle and walk a very narrow path, where it's just like, I have very clear, I think, well-cited, and I'm not saying me, I'm just saying in general, like you have to have a pretty well-established, set of a priori principles of your first, that you first want to defend or that you identify with. And then you have to be very careful, because I think that, like you said, I think the commoditization of a lot of discursive spaces, and then just like making things little brownie points for the take of owning someone else, it gets really tragic in that regard, because a lot of people will take the online brownie points way more seriously than I think maybe the greater issues at hand on how to put political pressure on their own community or whatever they want their position to be known as. And then of course, everyone and their mother, it's like being online is oftentimes, I think, like it's like 50 million first dates, because unless you stick to like a core issue, or maybe you're like the guy on one specific topic, everything just becomes a giant shit test. Like, I think that a lot of discursive spaces online are incredibly feminizing, because it's like, well, you didn't say this, so I'm not really going to listen to you, or I'm just going to label you this because it's easier for me. And it's just like, oh, cool. Like, this is like a really shitty first date with a random woman who wants to see if you're willing to play the game. And it's like, well, do you want to walk out and not deal with that, or do you want to play the game? It's up to you. And it's not just with what's currently going on in Iran. It's like that with virtually fucking everything.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you're a fucking video game reviewer, or you're a guy that like just does their weekly roundup on like pop culture commentary or whatever. It's like, it seeps into everything, because as I told Ben Boyce a couple months ago, it's just like, well, at the end of the day, because we've destroyed the homogeneity of the country and the large basis of what considered the common popular culture and civic norms through immigration and through the destruction of the industrial base in the country and through the internet, the only
degradation of the culture as
well. The degradation of the culture, and by that, the destruction of the third place. And so by that all being gone, the one place where Democrats, Republicans, liberals, reactionaries, whatever niche ideology you subscribe to on the internet, the one common third place now for any person online is politics, because politics is everywhere. Politics has become the last place where everyone can act like a boomer and yell at the TV and yell at each other and down their throat and quote tweet and do drama and block and mute and retweet and refollow, get added to chats, all these things, because that has become the last intramural sport of America where it's existential. The points do matter, but at the same time, they're all made up. And I think for a lot of people, that either leads you to be dejected and demoralized and you don't want to participate, or you want to go all in because it makes you feel good, or, ooh, this one's doing numbers. And it becomes overall an absolute shit show for whatever on earth is to go on. And it's just like, oh, okay, well, this is where we're at. And it's been kind of fun to watch for the last, I say fun just facetiously, but it's like, I haven't really been online for the last month and some change. And so it's just like to watch all this take place is like, oh yeah, I can actually engage in a pretty interesting feedback loop where I'm not only hurting my own psychosecurity, but also like I may or may not be regurgitating, or I may or may not be participating in someone else's like game, you know, like, ooh, I'm being tooled. And it's like, well, maybe I don't want to play this game anymore. And so I think that for me, at least, the big conclusion I took away over February, watching all this stuff play out for me, was like, I think for me, I need to return to long form writing, because I don't want to be the guy that I really don't like the whole impulsive tweet game thing for me. I'm not good at it, for starters. I'm not good at Twitter. And then secondly, it's just like, I think that it's better if I like actually sat down and thought everything through before I fall for the digital hysteria cycle. And I do oh, I have my take and I'm totally vindicated. And then like 45 seconds later, new information occurs and I look retarded. And then everyone holds that against you.
The 3-day rule, but with your own life.
Yeah, right. But like, I mean, that's a good thing to do anyway. But like the monetization of Twitter, I think in the long run was probably not the best decision Elon could have made. Also because the rest of the world is on Twitter, and we saw what happened when monetization first rolled out. It became a giant Indian scam, and it still kind of is. And so the geographic doxing of things certainly helps. I don't think we'll ever get region-based blocking, although that would be super nice. But it's just it's unfortunate because I don't know. I've been ranting for too long. I'm just it's a little frustrating.
The thing is, like my point about the munitions was that a lot of people think that like it's the America of the Cold War period, or it's post, even like during the global war on terror. Like there's been a lot of like very systemic issues with American arms production, when it comes to just factories closing, when it comes to the complexity of arms that are very, you're firing very complicated, very sophisticated, and very expensive arms to intercept Iranian drones that are very cheap and cost effective.
Yeah.
And of course, given what's happening with Ukraine, what was happening with Gaza, it's not like, and even the fact that, like, again, like I have to defend myself reporting mainstream assertions because of people's political fantasies. It's like, like you can read, like, the fact that they're willing to be honest with it now, I think is quite something. And I think, like, in some ways, especially people in the Pentagon, there have been signs that they're trying to distance themselves from the decisions of Washington, or the Trump administration in particular. And it usually does play out that the Pentagon is, because a lot of them are actual soldiers, that they tend to be more reasonable and more pragmatic. And that reminds me of what I was going to say before my rant. I said about domestic issues and foreign policy. A historical analogy would be during the Bush administration. I was alive long enough to remember that the issues that were, the issues that came up when Bush was reelected, basically by the time you have the invasion of Baghdad with Iraq, a lot of that domestic stuff sort of just went away. Like, nobody cared anymore about the compassionate conservative thing and Terry Schiavo and what Bush was trying to do in terms of like the healthcare spending. Like, all that stuff tended to be ignored or neglected because it became all about what America was doing in the Middle East, for rightfully so, for what they were doing in terms of like the intense focus and attention on it, especially after 9/11. But I think that the thesis is the thesis that some people have, posters have been doing, where it will eventually, the sort of like shoring up of the empire externally will shore up victories internally. Traditionally, that doesn't really happen.
Well, I think foreign policy begins at home. Just
foreign policy begins at home. Yeah, exactly. And so I think that it's a very complicated situation, and there's not a lot of options in terms of the options that were presented to the original neocons during Iraq and Afghanistan. I mean, Iran is a very populated, heavily geographically fortified area that would be incredibly difficult to penetrate. The only thing from some research that I've been doing, the thing that the Americans and that other nation in the Middle East could really do would be targeting their water infrastructure, which the Iranians have been doing in terms of energy infrastructure of their Arab neighbors, and in terms of water infrastructure in particular. That's really one weak point. But the economic scale, in terms of closing the strait, in terms of disruptions to global oil production, the Iranians are letting through the Chinese, their oil demands. And there have been talks of building a pipeline and so on and so forth. It's like nothing. I could be wrong. And of course, maybe we could invite someone who is more acquainted with foreign policy and geopolitics, like, Semyagog or somebody, if this is still going on next week. But it's like,
I mean, come on. The admin, Trump himself had said that they plan to, like, I guess, be there for 4 weeks to do this.
Yeah.
This will happen throughout the month.
Special military operation, they're calling it.
There were special combat operation.
Special combat.
What they had said.
It's sort of like, how like you have like McDonald's will come out with a signature thing, then like other burger chains will have to come out with like a different brand name.
The Big Arch.
The Big Arch, yeah.
Actually, for the sake of levity, that was really entertaining to go watch a CEO try his own slop. By God, that was really fun to watch.
That was like in The Simpsons. Krusty had to do a Krusty Burger commercial, and he like immediately spit it out as soon as the commercial was done. I think some of the juice went down my throat.
You do an incredible Krusty impression.
I do.
Not bad for the son of a rabbi, like. Not bad. Other updates right now. Oh man. So, okay. Texas's 31st congressional district, which mainly covers Clifton, Temple, and Georgetown. Did you know that, Vince Offer, the ShamWow guy?
Oh, he's running. Yes,
he was running in the Republican primary, to which he is suing the Republican primary because he wanted to have his nickname on the ballot, so people could identify him more easy, because he's using his legal name. I did not know that his name is Offer Shlomi, and that he was born in Israel. I had no idea. This is not to be like, oh my gosh. It's more of a like, wow, I didn't really know that the ShamWow guy was a dual
jail or something.
I was like, wow,
did he get in some legal trouble or something? He went to jail?
I have no idea. I saw his campaign ad for like him announcing his bid for Congress. I saw like the first 5 seconds and I was like, oh, it's the ShamWow thing. Like, oh, that's pretty interesting. I didn't know. And then it kept going. And then it just kept, hold on. I'm going to go find the original ad. I want you to play it for the audience to understand what a shock this was. Offer.
You can do screen share, right?
Yeah, but I was just going to give you the link so you can do this. Hold on. Where is he? The ShamWow guy reveals how wokeism got him to run for Congress. That is true. It did.
What's the title? ShamWow.
Real ShamWow guy, Vince Offer, ShamWow Shlomi, soak up the swamp. Oh, so he dropped this on February 1st. And honest to God, it is a wild ride. So I'll put the link in the private chat. Here you go. I watched the first 5 seconds and I was like, oh, okay. Like, well, you know, celebrity guy running. Like, okay. This is like if Billy Mays ran for Congress or something. And then it just turned into delightful boomer cringe. And I simultaneously loved it. Like, have you ever watched something that you like find really fascinating, but it sickens you? It was that. It's like watching a car accident or watching an unintended live leak video where you're like, huh, that's really interesting. And then you realize somebody just died and you get that like really weird, morbid feeling in your stomach. You're like, ugh. It was like watching that.
It. Yeah. Okay.
Anyways, this guy is not going to win the primary. The incumbent, Mr. John Carter, is going to win, most likely. We have 44% of the votes in. It is a close, well, not so close. Jasmine Crockett is at 45.9%. James Tallarico is at 53%. It is getting really close between John Cornyn and Ken Paxton.
This is a great ad. He's using the ShamWow analogy.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he's gonna clean up.
You didn't share audio, did you?
No, I didn't share. I wonder if it was illegal. Oh my God, he's a pro-life.
You just turn up the volume. Turn up the volume. Did you do the share audio tab?
No, I didn't.
When you shared screen, you didn't put.
But he's got like the whole thing though. He's got.
I didn't expect.
What is that touch? Oh. Anyway,
slap the nuts out of the woke. Okay, I watched that and I was like, oh my, it's did you ever watch oh God, what was that terrible did you ever watch that awful 2003 film
Mr.
with David Spade? Did you ever watch Dickie Roberts? Former child star.
Yeah, I think when I was like a kid. Yeah, I think it was when I was younger. I watched.
Yeah, so watching that reminded me of that movie. So bad. I thought that was really funny. But yeah, that that movie. Apparently, that's what it reminded me of. It's like, oh, this is like Dickie Roberts running for Congress.
Apparently, there's new edits of the Shape Store. They're selling homunculuses. According to
we got right-wing liminal spaces, right-wing analog horror. You're like, oh my God, guys, what if we did the back rooms but racist? That's the Shape Store. There you go,
we did the back rooms. Oh, is the movie out yet?
No, it comes out later this year.
Nice.
I told myself that you and I are gonna have to do an episode reviewing it.
It
definitely comes out May 29th.
Oh my God. We have to
directed by Kane Parsons himself. I'm very much looking forward to the cast. Wow, they got quite a okay, there you go. A bunch of names I do not fucking know. There you go.
I think it's better that way. It's probably better that way.
Probably better that way. Yeah, it'll be fun. Congratulations, internet. You got your movie. Skinamarink walked so the back rooms could run.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna have to go watch that. I guess so. There's a bunch of other films, I guess, that are now coming out and about that I'm interested.
So apparently the Europeans were because no matter what happens in the geopolitical theater, the Europeans tend to get schlonged. They were asking the Ukrainians for access to Russian energy infrastructure, LNG and oil, and the Ukrainians responded by targeting a Russian LNG ship. So it's really
there's another war going on, everyone. Lest we forget.
Yeah, no, because that would violate the whole impetus of them having an interest in that particular theater that's been going on for 4 years. So it's like, what do you expect them to say? Yes? Like the Europeans, they've gotten a lot of Russian oil through other back channel means that allegedly violate the sanctions. But it's like, what did you expect the Ukrainians to say? Yes? Like, come on. Like, they're not going to say yes. Like, it's just, I understand, like, it's a sign of desperation. It's a sign of desperation because if the Strait of Hormuz is closed and oil prices go up and access to oil is limited. It's like that's not good. It's not good. But I think to go back to what we were talking about, right? About this thing about domestic issues and foreign policy. I had this I'm trying to save everybody. Go to Jenner Productions on Telegram. I'm trying to save my purely political rants for Telegram so that Twitter and Substack and YouTube and elsewhere can be more focused on arts and culture and philosophy and analysis. So, but I did say that there was this thread that somebody did about the American Empire and supporting it. And, everybody that disagrees with me is a third worldist, blah, blah, blah. The issue, I think, is that the preservation of a particular political arrangement in our century, whether that is for the benefit and preservation of the people of that nation as opposed to not. And that, I think, is a huge political divide that we're seeing with the war in Iran and with a lot of other conflicts, is that the debate over whether these particular foreign excursions actually do translate into the betterment and furtherance of people of said political, Western civilization or America or so on and so forth. And I think that has become the real issue, right? But when it comes to the preservation of the sort of what we've seen in our lifetimes of whatever you want to call it, transnational progressivism, rainbow neoliberalism, the sort of like global force of deculturation that demands that, like us, we shall be the same and everybody shall be as sort of rootless as we are. If it's the preservation for that, and also other political interests that are not your interests, then the sort of projection of strength outwardly as the internal picture crumbles and weakens. I think those are serious debates that people have to have. And that requires a lot of reflection on the purpose of what the politics of empire means. And can this thing even be called an empire as such? And,
Did that make you feel better?
What made me feel better?
Dan Crenshaw is going to lose his primary.
Oh, thank God. Oh my God. Really?
Yeah.
To who?
To a guy named Steve Toth.
Oh, well.
I don't know, but it's nice to see that Dan Crenshaw won't be in office. Also, Tom Tillis is retiring, and he will be replaced by Michael Whatley. So that's nice to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so now I guess we're all gonna wait and see if Brandon Herrera gets into Congress. Tony Gonzalez should lose. I mean, the affair thing is pretty damning, and even the Speaker of the House was just like, yeah, like, even if he wins, it's kind of over for him anyway, because like he won't get any committee appointments. I mean, he'll be able to vote, but like, it is nice to know that like Dan Crenshaw is not going to be in office or anything. I loathe to admit this, but the funniest thing about Dan Crenshaw is a certain streamer doing an impression of him. That's all I'm going to say. I'll let the reader understand. But it is nice. It is certainly nice to see that he's gone. It's nice to see that he'll be out of a job, and he'll probably get a nice, I know exactly where Dan Crenshaw will probably go now, is that he'll probably join that fucking Mike Pence, not Heritage Foundation think tank. I feel like
Mike Pence, he really started supporting his old.
Yeah, he really liked his old. Again. He really liked his old boss as soon as he started bombing something.
Yeah. I should be fair though. They wanted to put each other in prison though.
For certainly, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's still a tight race between Cornyn and Paxton. James Tallarico has pulled ahead, but James Tallarico is also doing well in counties where there are majority Hispanic Democrats, which doesn't surprise me. A black woman in Texas running for the primary position. She'll
you think
probably
she's gonna win.
She's got a shot. I'm not really counting on it just because of the Hispanic population in Texas. If there's one group of people that a lot of Hispanic voters absolutely hate, it's blacks. So,
No, but if she wins the primary, like, do you think she's got a good chance of like overtaking the Republicans? Or...
No, I think Crockett's the weaker candidate. Just
because like leftoids, they really love her. Like she's
because she's got that black girl magic talking about Trump, and she does the whole. She acts like a stereotypical black woman. Is the most polite thing I'm going to say about her. Because I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want.
No, but they've been really like. I think
remark.
even the Democrats have been like really pushing her pretty hard. Yeah.
Well, right now, I mean, really, the Democratic message is that like Trump is a fascist, and we're going to elect every intelligent girl boss, former CIA, former military intelligence.
Wait, CIA. Wait, I know nothing about her background. What?
No, I'm not talking about Crockett. I'm just talking about the Dems in general.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Like we're going to just ensure, like they've made it very clear. They're like, we're gonna do amnesty. We're gonna like defund ICE. We're gonna like probably arrest people that worked for ICE, and we're going to like make sure that you never, ever, ever, ever have a say again, and or throw you in prison. Like they made that abundantly clear, and it kind of just blows my mind how the administration acts like it's politics as usual sometimes for a lot of people in the executive branch, because it's like, hey, have you considered that they might throw you in prison if they ever win again? Like,
no, but again, this is what I mean. Like, I think
the stakes are just existential, and
a war with Iran is definitely going to shift the midterm.
Well, I mean, when things are rough at home, you always go abroad.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Like Ken Paxton. I mean, Trump did not endorse anybody for the Senate race. But
no, but like even like the optics of it, like in terms of the economy, like I was seeing like Stormy Waters, who was saying this about Trump apparently granted a lot of insurance protection to these naval logistics, but then he's like, yeah, but like a lot of people can't afford like groceries every week, and what's gonna happen when oil prices jump? And it's
so far they haven't. They haven't
so far. They have
very high, at least in America. I know they've jumped super high already in Britain, from what I was reading. Yeah. So only time will tell.
But then again, you never know, because an economic downturn in the UK and in Europe and the Eurozone, I don't know how that would translate, because their political ruling class, like in the UK and in France, like very historically precedented, historically unpopular. So them going along with it, or being forced to go along with it, and then equal a, maybe not so much in America, but I mean, I listen, you know me, I'm a peacenik. Obviously, I don't support this, but I mean, it wouldn't harm Canadian oil prices, put it that way, in terms of our oil reserves. Not to say I would want a war with Iran to like shore up. I'm not saying that, obviously. But in terms of the European economy, an economic downturn would severely mess with the way things are now. Now, I don't think it would be enough to translate into anti-establishment political victories, because as we know, the Europeans tend to have that down on lock. I mean, even with historically unpopular administrations in the UK and in Europe in general, but their future would certainly be uncertain. It would be uncertain, their future, though, I think. Not to say that it justifies it, because, of course, with every war, there's like, a migrant crisis that soon follows, and the economic pain of Europe. I mean, even just in terms of like the material existence of a lot of people in Europe, if oil prices were to go up, or if they were not able to access oil reserves in the Middle East, I mean, it would be catastrophic. But what do you think would happen with that, though? I mean, economic.
I don't have.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about maritime insurance to give a take, but I mean, all law at the end of the day is going to be enforced. International law norms is enforced by the barrel of a gun.
Panikin Skywalker, is that way? Panikin Skywalker.
It's a great name.
That's a great.
I like it.
Yeah.
Christmas in February. That's true.
Christmas in February. Yeah, that's good.
Dan Crenshaw losing is really my favorite part so far.
That's pretty good. Yeah,
it's really nice.
Dan Crenshaw. But I guess what trying to. There's so many takes I've saved to comment on, but maybe for another time. But there was this one. I guess this is an American question. This is an American question for you, Prude. I think this is Roger on Twitter. He uses the term "for you pagers," but I'm not gonna.
I like that term.
That's great. The "for you" pagers
for FYP-ism.
The FYP, right? Yeah.
Well, just the FYP-ism in general, because that's what this is.
Speaking about FYP, did you see that video from Dubai with Ian Chungus?
No.
Ian Chong?
I've had that guy blocked for 3 years, Geo, so no, I have not seen this video.
He had this video. It was like the most forced, like, like corporate forced fun, where like the restaurant people, they come and they like trying to do a party or whatever.
Yeah.
There's this video where he's in Dubai. I don't know how he gets the money. Maybe from Twitter posting. Maybe from cool posting, he can go to Dubai. But he's in this restaurant where he's like, there's no strikes here and everyone's happy. And it's like people are like shuffling along, like pretending to do this like party or whatever. And he looks like so goofy. And it was the most obnoxious thing I've ever seen. But of course, what do I expect? So anyway, Roger on Twitter says like people are saying that, the alt-right or the frogs or the shit posters, that they've colonized the GOP for our benefit. But this is a very glass half empty type of analysis. What if it's the inverse? Like, what if, I think that's always going to be the debate between not just in the political right, but also the left deals with this as well. Whether political distance outside of, or rather I should say, people that possess heterodox ideas outside of the amalgamated systems of power that are up on offer to that political quatrain, that political side. If there truly is a connection between the radicals push the message further so that then political victories can be ensured and then things move along to a different position that is mainstream normalized, or rather are the radicals sort of like the war machine, to quote Deleuze and Guattari, that are being utilized by an apparatus of power. And I think like these debates really reveal that in terms of, what is the directional notion? What is the directional apparatus of who is subverting who is pushing who along? And I think that is a debate that still hasn't left us, even though it's sort of been 10 years of, right-wing ideas gaining some form of cultural and political discourse and traction. There still is that sort of looming debate over what is the purpose of it and who is moving whom in which direction. And I think that is a legitimate. But what is your opinion on that sort of?
I think time will tell.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that for at least when it comes to the issue of the war, and I mean, I think at least for, and also, hold on, let me get my thoughts together before I start rambling and drop filler words. Is that
Steve super chats if you have
at least when it comes to like Twitter, because that is the primary discursive space that you and I exist on. Yeah. It's incredibly it's been interesting to watch how quickly, and I've said it before, like, like at least for Americans, right? Like we are the most psyoped people on earth. Because like everything can either be a commercial or propaganda or a partisan talking point. And of course you have to, I think most people are discerning enough to determine where something is coming from and where it isn't. But like just with the beginning of the war in Ukraine, and just as some people have already fallen for a lot of AI crap as it is, or stuff that's been re-edited from previous footage or whatnot, it's very easy sometimes, I think, to get filtered. And however, the platform that we're on is also one of the most trafficked ones by government officials, people who are elected, people that are as close to the administration as possible without necessarily giving the whole game away. And I mean, also, like, the stakes are pretty damn high. Like, the guy who's done all of the basically not Fashwave, but Fashwave edits for DHS, he got doxxed. That dude's like 21 years old, and the Democrats went after him.
Oh, the Johnny Maga guy?
No, not Johnny Maga. I'm talking about the guy who works for DHS and actually does the Twitter edit videos. Johnny Maga got doxxed too, and Johnny Maga works for the White House, and he's like a well-to-do white guy with a nice, like, white wife. Like, everything looks, what a normal American family, like.
Why'd they go after him? He didn't seem like particularly extreme, or I guess to them everything.
No, but it doesn't matter. In the same way that fucking CNN held some kid's docs hostage, from Reddit.
The WWE edit,
the WWE edit. Han asshole Solo, like. Come on. Like, I mean, yeah. So on one hand, yes, things can be overly commodified and things can be colonized for the purposes that there's a feedback loop where, like, you hear what we have to say and we move that way. And maybe sometimes you can say that, like, posting matters. And then on the other hand, like, there is a large degree of cynicism. I know that some people have coined the term sloppyism as a part of that. But, like, even prior to Twitter being under Elon's, like, purview, like, you saw that everywhere, whether it was r/the Donald, various Facebook groups, various parts of Twitter, like, that was all there. It's now, of course, Twitter is the one space I think where it's not completely as bad as it was under Parag Agarwal, or however you pronounce his name, because like now there's less of an evolutionary selection pressure that culls you at any point in time, which means like some of the slop comes through, but also at the same time you can effectively communicate in ways that make it easier, and there's more force multiplication that way. And so I think that if I were a disgusting academic, I'd be applying for a grant to go do research on this. And talking about like social networking in an age of like online political discourse and like the era of Trump. And you could easily write a paper that gets like sponsored by some like university or even the federal government. You can do this, by the way, through like the various endowments that the federal government has for public scholars. But overall, I think at least on this issue, when it comes to like colonizing spaces, like this is a part of any online space. We saw this with Twitter. We've seen this with Reddit. We've seen this with former platforms that have been long dead, like Dig and other places. Like there are power users. And I've noticed that there has also been a recreation of old forum culture. And I occasionally will visit some forums that I find particularly interesting. There are some, places and clubs online that I find like, oh, like this is like an old forum, like this is kind of appreciative, and I can listen to like actual thought out multi-paragraph takes that aren't going to get bombarded by low IQ replies, bots. And we've gone from pussy and bio to crypto shilling in the replies. Like it's nuts. But also at the same time, I just think that these things are going to continue to unfold. And I think you probably won't see any real seismic shift in how the space operates until maybe after the midterms.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to wait till November, I think, to see a really major change. Because again, like this war can end in 4 weeks, or it can turn into a disaster, but only time is going to tell. And people are going to fight and stake out their positions. And I think for at least me, I want things to be focused on more at home. Like, why in God's name is a Senegalese migrant who was, I think, naturalized under Obama going to a nightclub in Austin to shoot up a bunch of people while wearing a fucking hoodie that says property of Allah? Like, no,
that
shouldn't be here. Yeah. You shouldn't be here. In the same way that there's been quite a few shootings related to various individuals who identify either with like gender dysphoria or something else, and so it's just
Tumblr Ridge,
and that happening in what isn't that the most deadly mass shooting in Canada, and no one's fucking talking about it?
I think the Polytechnic one was probably more, but yeah, it's one of them. It's definitely up there. Yeah, it's up there. And it's just people they totally memory hold it. I mean, I knew that was going to happen. I said that from day one, that the Canadian media were not going to talk about it anymore. And people have just... But were you going to say, Prude?
I mean, it's just... I think for a lot of people, like, you're not... For, I guess, a quote-unquote content model, and this is a conversation Dimes and I have been having in the background, is like, what is the future of quote-unquote content creation? Is going to be the question of what does that look like? And I think for some people are going to be news guys, and they're always going to chase headlines, and it's going to be like ambulance chasing for a take. But I do think in a lot of ways that I think what might provide some longevity is going to be some specialization into one or two things, or things that you become known for, and that occasionally you sprinkle in your takes on the news or whatever on the side. Maybe that for me, that means I return to giving lectures. For you, I mean, you've got it already because you're an artist and you have your paintings. And I think that those are, I'm glad you're doing more painting videos, or at least having your paintings on screen while you talk about certain things. Like, I think that helps, because in the midst of that, like, I think that if everyone's trying to play the same game, where like everyone's trying to give the best definitive take or the theory of everything, or they're, you're trying to focus on a particular question or a particular pet issue, it's going to get easily overswamped by either obvious algo manipulation or force multiplication via group chats and networking. And so unless you're like already a power poster and a power user, that's one way to do it. But if you're not, then like, I guess if this is something that you like doing and you want to continue doing it, then I think that we're going to see a re-entrenchment of specialization in terms of topics, rather than everyone chasing the news all at once. Because I think that that's already mind broken. Like, it's really busted up the minds of a lot of people, whether it be COVID, whether it be Ukraine, whether it be Iran, whether it be...
people are saying that the GWAT broke the brains of millennials, and which it kind of did, but not in the way that... But yeah, go ahead, Prudy.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's some that would say that is. But I mean, also, like, the formulation of trauma at a certain point in time is definitely going to shape our...
Oh yeah, definitely. That's something.
And so like, I'm a product of that. Like, I saw 9/11 happen. My dad was in the Pentagon when it happened. My dad's career was from Desert Storm until, the halfway through the Trump administration. The first time, it was like, my entire life. And the stuff that happened in Afghanistan after we left and all that jazz. It's like, I have I'm sure I have my personal biases that make it a little different. And if this military operation, succeeds and it's great, and, there are a limited number of American casualties, and it doesn't drag us into a long-term war, and somehow, America can kind of wipe its hands clean and let sort of like the Arab states and Israel do things, great. But my gut tells me it's not so simple and it's not so easy. I would love to be wrong. Like, I'm willing to change my mind when information is presented for me on the facts on the ground. But as of right now, it's just like the history doesn't bode well, and our relationship to various partners in that area doesn't bode well. And at the same time, like, there are numerous other bubbling issues. Like, well, what's now going to happen with like the Kurdistan question? And then Turkey has to be a power player, and of course, Israel's
they want to activate
Turkey in
them
general.
again, yeah.
And then at the same time, like, Turkey's also been building up its like military forces and has a new naval policy, which makes the Greeks uneasy. And there's been this like quiet kind of Cold War between Greece and Turkey over buying military equipment from the French and the Germans over the Aegean. And that's interesting. That might be played out. Now, of course, Cyprus got hit by a missile. So the Greek Navy has been deployed. And it's just like, what a wild time to be alive. And so for me, at least, I'm going to try and not be as impulsive on takes on the timeline, and to watch things play out, and to, if I need to write something long form or give a take, I'll write something long form about it. But that's really all that I'm gonna have to add on that issue. Is just like that. This is what it's been. And it's gonna continue to play out the way that it has on the timeline, where you're either cheering everything on, or you have your reservations, or you're totally hell-bent on being very specific on one particular issue. And, if you think that's your righteous cause, then go for it. I'm probably going to be supportive if it's argued and articulated to me in a way that I like. But I also, I have my own positions, I have my own takes. And that's just how it's going to be. And I think that our audience, as well as our mutual friends or whatnot, are intelligent enough to articulate their own opinion, to where hopefully, Lord willing, we are not being caught in someone's like bait post or rage baiting, or some obvious like way to rile me up. And I try not to do that, but nevertheless, I'm human. I know that I'll fail, but I want to at least try and be as sober headed as possible, because again, like even if I am biased because of the global war on terror or whatever, it's just like, things aren't always so good. But like, again, the claim is like, well, Venezuela's kind of been an in and out situation, and allegedly we are getting oil from them rather quickly, and the data on the ground seems to imply that, to open up trade again. that who knows, maybe, things will be different. And if it is different, then so be it. But that also means that it's a whole new paradigm we have to operate under, and God only knows what that looks like, because all of this is still unfolding. And who knows, this could all age like fucking bad food, and this could all be moldy in a week from now, or it could age like fine wine. God only knows. So I'm gonna leave it at that, because I'm glad that we do not do these episodes where we cover nothing but the news for the whole episode. It's nice when we don't do that.
Yeah, true. But no, but that was another thing too about I lost my train of thought. The sort of there was a take by My Fitness Feelings that I thought was pretty interesting. It reminded me of a lot of the writings of Aurelio about, Trump managed to achieve the first like true like postmodern war. Like the objectives are very murky. There's just action and nothing else. The sort of the players involved have their own vested interests, but yet there's no articulation of the sort of like traditional geopolitical aims, besides like very like vague, like, vibes based feelings of like, well, the Iranians hate us and they've always traditionally been the enemy of us, blah, blah, blah. And so let me read you the exact tweet. He talks about the UK too, why the UK has gone insane. Postmodern war is here. So this is My Fitness Feelings on Twitter. Wow, that's actually pretty good. 8,000 likes. Postmodern war is here. No unifying narrative. Why are we at war? Who with who? It is a good idea. When did it start? Is it even a war? No one agrees on anything. Wartime propaganda of the modern system was all in agreement and unity. Today, it seems like the propagandists create confusion, disunity, false starts, etc., as covers for state action. Rather than building up a strong case for war, the American government exhausts the discourse prior to the main campaign to achieve a state of beleagueredness and acceptance, since enthusiasm is off the table. Even true critics of state actions are drawn into supporting the chaos burnout framework. That's very Byung-Chul Han burnout framework, where the preemptively criticized it. Powerful strategy. What's very funny is that it seems like I said this in a group chat. The traditional models of propaganda around consent for any major action, it seems to be disrupted now. Traditionally, like there was the sort of like, and here's the thing, because about Noam Chomsky's involvement with Mr. Jeffrey. So the sort of like manufacturing consent model to be viewed as some parapolitics people have been viewing it as like that was the op, like that was the de-radicalization op, because Noam Chomsky ultimately an agent of de-radicalization. So, but to use the term of like the traditional model of manufacturing consent, where invested interests, intelligence agencies, so on and so forth, have certain influences within the mainstream media and other like sort of heterodox sources of information and news, that definitely does happen. But it does seem like organically, outside of that traditional framework of manufacturing consent, it seems that when an action occurs out of the aether that catches people by surprise, every different side has their own take of how to spin it and also how to consent to it. Like I mentioned, how the political left in America, they're quiet about it, or they implicitly, apart from like, the squad people, a lot of them, like, they don't have the sort of, and even like leaf libs here in Canada that go along with it because of Carney, they don't really have any principle around it. And their principle extends to like very like smooth brain culture war issues of like, we're bringing like women's rights to Iran or whatever. And all like the diaspora palavis who like do the TikTok dances. On the political right, it's also like the traditional neocon things, but also like this newer, like strongman type of politics projection. But so it seems that like the media narrative that's crafted around political action happens to like people rush to it rather than there being a very sophisticated intelligence agency operation or something where consent has to be manufactured beforehand. It seems like there is a perspectival and like postmodern discourse orientated way of conducting vast sweeping geopolitical actions or even vast sweeping, domestic policy or culture war stuff, and all of the considerations of support happens afterwards. Whereas traditionally it's been like, you're priming a huge population for certain actions that will be done in the future. It's like none of that priming is happening. And it could be that maybe the political actors involved don't feel the necessity to really like have a cohesive narrative that they could then sell to a very like, uniform political population, or sorry, uniform citizenry or population within constitutive Western countries. It just seems like, actions happen, find a narrative, go with it. That makes sense. Like, it seems like a disruption of the traditional model of like media propaganda and PR. So anyways, that was a long point, but yeah.
Well, I'm glad that I've got a lot of things lined up for us to cover next week, which is good. So far, some places have called it for Tallarico, but I don't think Crockett has given any formal concession. Let's see what else is going on. Is 54% of the results in. Brandon Herrera at 39.9. Tony Gonzalez 45.1. We'll see how that goes. Greg Abbott, of course, didn't really have any major political primary opponents. It's neck and neck now between Ken Paxton and John Cornyn. And let's see what else has been going on. Oh yeah, well, we just already celebrated that the Cyclops has been slain, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Which is delightful to say the least.
Oh, I think Yashramed, that was in regards to you getting married.
Oh, what?
Oh,
yeah, thank you. Yeah, I did. Yeah. I took a month off, and I'm not gonna lie, it was lovely. Although that time I did record with Oren was like the Thursday before the wedding. What else did we miss? Oh, the State of the Union. We missed the State of the Union address.
Oh yeah, I mean, we mentioned that with like Austin Matthews and the men's hockey team. But what happened with the State of the Union?
Due to where I was at the time, I had the pleasure of watching the whole thing. I wasn't going to, but I was out with a friend, and then it was on while we were out and about. And it was what a beautiful piece of spectacle. It was great reality TV. It was just, and it's kind of funny because like all the rhetorical owns that Trump had at the State of the Union address has kind of been immediately overshadowed and forgotten by Iran.
Stand up. Yeah,
stand up if you believe that the government should protect citizens, not illegal immigrants. This is like no Democrat stands, and it's just like I rest my case, Your Honor. The fake and gay, they're fake and they're gay. And then they did 2 Medal of Honors. Then they highlighted, illegal immigrant crime. I thought it was fucking insane that, I mean, the one good thing, and again, pardon my language, I was really impressed that Trump did mention Irina Zakutska's name.
Wasn't her parents there?
Her parents were literally there next to Erica Kirk. And, no Democrat stood for the fact that this like Ukrainian refugee, and it was really interesting because I think it was some Democratic senator had like the Ukraine flag pin on his like lapel.
Oh my God.
Sitting there while literally a Ukrainian refugee family fleeing war gets murdered by a violent black criminal who had a record in broad daylight in Charlotte, North Carolina. And they can't stand for that. And I mean, obviously,
that's what I was saying about like the new model of like postmodern geopolitics.
Oh yeah, I mean, it really is. Yeah, it is spectacle, but I mean, it's just proof that
an empty symbol. Exactly, it doesn't really matter.
And I mean, like the symbolism, while valid to us, and just like what Sorrell talks about, right? Like you do need myths and heroes for movements to succeed, and martyrs as well. It's just like, I mean, like by sitting down at the State of the Union address, Democrats have told, and by extension, all of the left have told us that they stand against civilization, they stand against America, they stand against white people. And I mean, in a large way, I kind of repeat myself in a lot of ways there, but it's just like, cool. Like, I mean, if you're, imagine reading Moldbug in like 2008 and he's talking about formalism, and it's just like, wow, the Democrats have really formalized all their positions. They just hate white people. And I mean, that's where we're at, and it's
that's what I mean. Like a real flesh and blood Ukrainian refugee fleeing war, that they like the actual domestic culture war politics supersedes this like vague symbolic gesture towards Ukraine as like a war effort to further, whatever American interests or whatever in the region. It's like the actual victims of said war go unnoticed even by people that claim to be sympathetic to said victims of the Russian, whatever. And it's like, it's just to me that like, that really does say a lot. I know it's a meme to say like it says a lot about things, but like, yeah, that says quite a bit. Like that's a real person that was not taken care of by the American system that, that proclaimed to be for that person's benefit in a time of need. And the politician that is going to refuse to stand up for her parents because it's like that Ukrainian flag on his chest there, wherever, lapel, it's like that means a whole host of very vague feelings towards geopolitics or the international rules-based order, quote unquote, but it doesn't actually mean anything for a real refugee that suffered and perished at the hands of a terrible justice system. So that was really depressing. I know I sound very depressed, but like it's it's a very depressing thing. But anyways, yeah, sorry, go ahead, Prude.
I mean that I think that's more or less all the big stuff that we've missed.
Yeah.
Gives us a chance to kind of make this a clean break and head to the super chats.
All right, there you go. I mean, this has been a little shorter of a show, but like we have a lot of super chats and we're getting our legs back.
Good.
So there you go. This
is Gio's job, everybody. You have to pay him. I work 3 jobs, so you have to go pay Gio.
Please go to JohnnyProductions.com. If you
get yourself a nice piece of artwork right now, it's the best artwork, the best I've ever seen.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. It would go that far. So let's go to the entropy first, and then the YouTube super chats. So from highest to lowest. So our good friend Son of Haster for $5. Don't you guys miss it? Should I do a crusty voice? Wait, let me do crusty.
This is partially why I did ask for a clips guy.
Yeah.
So I can go clip Gio. That way I can one day do my AI Gio episode of DA when he's sick.
I'll live on. After the... No, I'm not going to make a major. I'm not going to... They're never going to made me, okay? They're never going... There you go. So anyways, Son of Aster for $5. Don't worry, guys. You didn't miss much. That's a good one.
We should have started with that.
We didn't miss much.
We didn't miss anything. So what's up with you?
No, but I thought it was like I was trying to be ironic with the title of the stream. Like, what did we miss? But that was way better. Should have been we didn't miss much. That's sort of like that AXCX album where it's like 40 more reasons to hate us. It's like we didn't miss much, like that's pretty good.
That would have been a great episode title.
Oh, we should do that. Should be like
152 reasons to hate us. I might make that the title for next week.
7,000 reasons to hate. That's too much. I'm sorry. 7,000 reasons to hate us. But anyways, God. Owen Zaleski, our good friend, for $5. Hello, gents. I am glad to see you guys again. Congrats, Prude, on the marriage. Love all of the Geo art coming out this month. I am starting to full remote position at the DHS this month. Whoa! Any advice?
Are you one of those Homeland Defenders?
Whoa!
Wow! Congrats.
Any advice? Looking forward to more Arcano. God bless. So you're asking advice. I mean, how would you even begin to advise somebody to work for the DHS?
Well, they advertised for it. I mean,
There you go.
Well, I mean, you're a public servant, and you've signed on with the full knowledge that you're trying to help basically kick these guys out. So I mean, more power to you, brother. I'm happy for you, and I hope that. And also, it's a federal government job, and so I mean, like, you've secured the bag, sir. Until they cut you with a budget cut or something, you just stay in. Collect the benefits. Enjoy the good health insurance, brother.
Secure the bag.
Secure the bag is all I'm going to tell you.
Oh, speaking of Canadian news, the guy that was driving the truck that led to was it 18 people that perished or something like that?
Do they deport him?
No, the Canadian media, even the so-called conservative National Post, ran an article saying like, well, he served his time and he got a historically light sentence, of course.
Oh my gosh.
He's like, oh, he served his time. He has a right to be here. Yeah, he's a murderer. Yeah. Yeah. And they're like, oh, well, he served it. So here you go. National Post, John Manley, man responsible for Humboldt Broncos crash, paid his debt to society. Why should we deport him? And so Annie Slatz says this guy redacted 18 Canadians. Most of them were teen boys from a very small community and will irreparably affect them forever, the community. And almost every mainstream journalist in this country is begging the government not to override his deportation order. You just can't hate them enough. So they are going to deport him, but the Canadian government, the media, government-funded media, is begging for this guy not to be deported. It's insane. It's but I live in an insane country. So, anyways, yeah.
God, that's so depressing.
Yeah, but anyways, thank you for the super chats. I know that was we left off. We gave Owen's super chat a depressing note, but anyways, thank you so much. And now we have Seasider for $10. I can't. Can I say that? Sure.
What is he saying? Put it in the private chat.
Okay, yeah. I'll put it in the private chat. Okay, copy.
And I guess I'll be the judge of what on God's name that Seasider put in chat. Usually super chats are I wouldn't say that because that means no.
I'm not gonna say that.
I'm not even gonna dignify. I'm not even gonna read that out loud. I'm not dignifying that with a response. Although that's funny as hell.
If Seasider wants to put that in the chat, but I'm not reading that out loud. It is funny, but it's also tragic. So, oh my god!
I forgot I have these.
You have to keep doing. We're gonna have to be like Blood Satellite, where it's like we're gonna have like elaborate soundboards. No, it's about Mr. Jeffrey, and it's got an ooh at the end. That's all you need to know. So maybe just save the soundboard for the super chats. It would be funnier.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah. That was like that one thing in Kino Casino where PvP, he gave Andy Worski a slide whistle. He's like, I'm gonna regret this. I'm really gonna regret this. Because PvP is the bell.
That's me every time I like look at my like streaming schedule, and I'm just like me.
Yeah, we got. Oh man, I wonder, does StreamYard have a soundboard?
No. You can upload sound bits. I don't know. I'm just taking advantage of a really expensive wedding present. So I will say this publicly, Capitalissimo, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much for the tech.
Oh my god. If you buy a painting for me, I'll probably send you something extra for your wedding. Anyways, so thank you. So now we have thank you, Seasider, even though it's not an optical thing to read on air. Belial Bradley, our good friend, for $15. Thank you so much, Belial Bradley. Have you seen the two? Oh my God, here's another one. I can read this, but I don't want to read this because I am a wholesome Chungus, Landsharkian male feminist women respecter. But here he says, have you seen the two-headed TLC conjoined twins, Abby and Brittany Hensel, lately? They've really hit the wall. We're getting old, bros. Did they marry a... Oh my God. This is one from depressing to comical. This episode. Did they marry a single guy? Did they marry a single guy?
I have no idea if that's true or not.
I guess they'd have to.
I feel like in that circumstance, they should not be married.
They share the same body, so I guess they would have to.
I do not endorse.
There were those the one conjoined twins where they in the 40s, or was it the 20s, where they married two separate guys, and like someone asked them like how you do it, and they're like, well, we have a curtain between each other. And I'm like, okay.
Oh my! But it's still the same.
No, but they were two different bodies. They were just conjoined.
Okay. It was like the Siamese twins, where it's conjoined.
Yeah, the Siamese. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's still.
It's like a swinger party. It's like your marriage is a swinger arrangement.
Golly.
What's the politically correct term nowadays?
Conjoined
polyamorous
twin, I think is the. Oh yeah.
Polyamorous.
It's a polycule, except it's all
polycule,
built in.
Yeah.
It's a built-in polycule.
No, apparently
ruffle that works.
Apparently they can feel it at the same time. So
I like how you put that comment up for 2 seconds, and you were like, maybe don't put the word orgasm on screen.
No, I like mid thought I regretted it. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna.
That post nut streamer clarity. You're like, maybe don't put that up on air.
Don't put that up.
Do not research in real time.
Oh my god! But anyways, we're getting old, bros. We are. I remember when they were on TLC. I remember that was a big thing because you got to realize, to all the Zoomers and Zoomettes, back in the day, memes were much different. Like a cultural like a pop culture phenomenon. It was like mainstream, like drama television, like reality television networks like TLC, and it was like a slow burn. Like people talked about Octomom for like a year. People talked about Britney Spears going crazy for like months on end.
You remember that people would just watch god awful Will Ferrell movies and quote them to their friends for months on end?
Yes, I remember being in grade school and everybody, even in high school, they would quote Anchorman. They would quote Afternoon Delight. The kid would just start singing Afternoon Delight.
Kill the guy with a trident.
Yeah, it's like they would quote Will Ferrell. Do you remember when the Step Brothers came out?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I never watched any of these films.
Me neither. I watched.
I'm only aware due to cultural osmosis. The only film, I guess, kind of from that era I recently rewatched was Crazy Stupid Love.
Oh, yeah.
I watched it to the end and I was like, oh yeah, that teenage girl gave nude photos to that 13-year-old boy at the end.
Oh my god.
I was like, I don't remember this at the end of the film.
You
Frasier only on the Nintendo Super Nintendo Entertainment System.
You people famously know my hatred of Napoleon Dynamite because of this, but I remember
I hope some poor bastard pays you $500 to review that film.
Oh my god. Okay, it will be $100. My usual fee is $100.
Yeah, your usual fee of $100.
I'll accept $100 to review Napoleon Dynamite. But anyways, man,
as long as you let me create the thumbnail.
I still have film reviews. I have to review Magnolia if Jay Burden gets back to me. Mr. Important Jay Burden with his 1 million downloads a month or whatever.
Yeah, he's more important than us.
Anyway, I shouldn't sour grape. Jay Burden's a good friend of ours, but I shouldn't. One time, there's a certain Twitter show that's just went on right now. But anyways, we're at the end of the show, so
that's okay. It's at the end of the show.
They had mercy on us to wait till the end of the show. So no, but Napoleon Dynamite. I remember I went to a high school that had one of the. I went to not a high school. I went to an elementary school, we call it here in Canada. One of the only elementary schools that had a cafeteria because it used to be a high school. And I remember lunchtime, we would go to the cafeteria and you would just at random intervals, for years, you would hear, "Give me your tots," just blaring throughout the lunch, the cafeteria. "Give me your tots." And anyways, so, oh my god, I'm not gonna. Oh my god.
Yeah.
You know that meme, Prude?
What meme?
Well, look what it is. Look who it is. The consequences.
It's on Entropy. I can't see the meme.
No, but look who it is. The consequences of my own actions.
Did someone just pay you $100?
Charlie Mackey paid me to review Napoleon Dynamite.
I'm so glad I have this sound.
Play that again. Play that again. Oh my god. Major fail. Major fail. Oh my god.
You know what the best part is that this is a built-in system for my microphone. So if I'm ever on like Night Owls or something, I can just drop this whenever I want.
If you're on Orange Stream, you could just drop it.
I wouldn't do that to Orange. Well,
no.
Maybe. Maybe.
A major fail. You know what's funny is I remember Ghost from True Capitalist Radio used to have the Nintendo, the Mario sound where he's like do 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 do. It's like major fail. That would be like the. Does it have the Mario sound, the major fail sound, or no?
No, but I could upload it.
Oh my god. Anyways, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, Charlie Mackey, for paying for me to review Napoleon Dynamite.
Thank you for causing Geo suffering.
Gonna be. Anyways, who else do we have here? Owen Zaleski, Charlie Mackey for $25. Good evening. I hope you're both well. Thank you so much, Charlie Mackey. And now an Entropy we have Penseroso for $15. Can't watch now, but I'll catch the VOD. 0 out of 10. How black-pilled of an episode was this? I would say about 5. There was some comedy moments as well.
It was. I'd give it a 6 out of 10. Slightly
6
mid.
out of 10. Yeah, 6 out of 10.
Not by it was not by choice. This was just getting our sea legs back on.
Oh yeah.
I'm generally not in. If you ever meet me IRL, you will learn that I have a very IRL cheery disposition towards life, and I choose to keep it that way.
Oh man, that's true. Anyways, but thank you so much, Penseroso. And finally on Entropy for $5, Rattling Saber. Cheers, boys. Glad you're back. Tossing Gio a few bucks so he can buy a rhombus at the Shape Store. I don't know. I'm Italian, so technically I'm invited to
Aiden Paladin had the best tweet about this where she was like, you've heard of liminal spaces, but have you heard of criminal spaces?
That's oh my god.
Oh, I hit her with the Salieri gif. That was really good.
Oh my god. That was pretty good. Anyways, moving on to the YouTube super chats, and so to prevent
the ones I can actually react to on screen.
Yeah, to prevent from on screen, and also because I don't want to scroll, because I don't know why I have to like contact StreamYard's why it's doing that. I can't just like look at the starred chat, like it automatically stars them. But anyways,
what do you mean you can't? Okay, well that's very strange.
It's weird. It doesn't allow me to view it.
Odd.
I remember back in January, a super chat was by Not Ulysses. Real postmodernism has never been tried. So that's
we're there, buddy. We're there.
Anyway, so Randall Shirker, our good friend Randall Shirker, for $5. You picked the perfect time to be back in order to cover the opening moves of World War III. Prude, so how soon until Canada pursues nuclear capabilities?
I think Poland is beating you to it, so we'll see.
We had our chance in the 50s.
Yeah, you did. That is true. That's a fun part of Cold War history no one likes to talk about, was like the potentiality of Canadian nuclear sovereignty. I still kind of like, if you want to have a quote unquote World War III, like you could argue World War III began when like Russia crossed into Ukrainian territory.
Yeah, that's true, because all players were set and matched at the time.
Yeah, so I don't have much to add.
I mean, could the CANDO reactor stuff, Could we develop? Nah, I'm not even gonna speculate.
I don't see why you couldn't, but I mean, I
We have
wouldn't
the
want
technology. No, Canada's never gonna
to.
develop.
We can rebuild him.
Well, for a long time, like during the 80s, like non-proliferation was like a sort of like a shelling point of Canadian identity, like the sort of like left-wing
as it
Canadian
is, or
nationalism.
as it is / was in
Yeah.
Australia.
Oh, that's right. The nuclear. Yeah, they were big on that.
And they're still big on not having nuclear in there. It's like by law.
I wonder if the Chinese are going to persuade them otherwise.
I mean, it's kind of what led to the AUKUS agreement, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, but that's why like Canada was so big, and like we're not America. We don't have we don't have to rely on nukes. Yeah. So, I have seen leaf libs though toy with the idea that Canada should have nukes against America, but that would
sure. Why not?
Why not? I mean, I think like. No, but a serious point is that like countries that don't get regime changed.
That has been the lesson here. But I mean, the question, like this has been. I might do a stream on this, like a solo episode. Like I might read some arguments back and forth. There's a great book that came out after like the Indo-Pakistan War, like the mid '90s, where everyone thought like nukes were going to get used, and it was a continuation of a debate between Kenneth Waltz and I think it was like Scott Sagan about like the spread of nuclear weapons. The debate renewed. And it's very interesting because a lot of the arguments that are used on both sides reminds me very much of AI. So I might you can get that as a PDF on the internet. It's interesting to go read. So there you go. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. There's also this the thing I'm trying to read. This was like a proto Marxist essay. What was it called by Hobson, Imperialism a Study? Do you know that one, Prude?
No, I don't.
Apparently it was like pretty big. Like I'll read it and I'll see if it's worthy of doing an episode on. It's a pretty large essay, but we could like piece it up. But anyways, thank you, Randall Shirker. And Jeremy Kearns for 1.99. Thank you, Jeremy. So good to see my favorite frogs back on the TL. Thank you so much, Jeremy. We're back. We're glad to be back. And Donal132 for $5. I'm loving my original Geo I ordered a few weeks ago. Highly recommend. Lifts my spirit every morning. Thank you. Thank you so much for your support, Donal. And again, giantproductions.com for all your art needs.
I guess I'm going to have to go order a piece now.
All right. And Bulkington Books for $20. Thank you so much. Bulkington Books are a good friend. And he screen capped this for Twitter as well. Geo in the group chat, I bullied you to do tasteful portraits of e-girls. $1 million idea. Prude, I'm actually will do more figurative work. I have this big commission I'm doing, which is more of a landscape. But in the future, I probably will pursue more figurative work. $1 million idea. Prude, congrats on marriage. God bless you both and all watchers. Buy Bulkington book. Bulkington has a book.
So Bulkington Books has a great collection of parts of American history that are, well, not just American history, but also world history that are particularly well worth your time. For instance, in the history of tariffs, a very good book that has been published by Mr. Bulkington is The Tariff Controversy in the United States from 1789 to 1833 by Orrin Leslie Elliott. Originally published in 1892. It's a very interesting scholarly monograph. However, it allows you to cover the national bank crisis and the issue of tariffs between John Calhoun and Andrew Jackson. Of course, the nullification crisis as well. He also has a really great series of books covering the war correspondence of World War I. We have, of course, a great book on Theodore Roosevelt called A Square Deal, as well as what the Soviet Union did on organized religion. So there's a lot of great stuff in there, including a book by William McKinley himself. So by all means, go to Bulkington Books, and you will see that there's a lot of great pieces of history in there that are not so popularly covered by our guys, but are well worth it for your own edification.
So there you go, Bulkington Books. That's a pretty good stamp.
We are not sponsored by Bulkington Books, but maybe I can work out with Bulkington a promo code.
There you go. So there you go. Go to his... Bulkington Books' Linktree.
Great books.
There you go. Book catalog. 14 books.
Yeah, he's got quite a bit.
Holy. There you go. Bulkington Books.
Next.
Anyways,
lots of good books.
Giant Productions. Anyways, yeah, go to Bulkington Books as well. So, all right. Part 2 E-Girls Real Nightmare. Imagine the E-Girl rankings, but like an art hoe that sues a guy over his painting of her photograph. Oh my god, that actually happened once. So
yeah, that's why you should just do E-Girl caricatures.
No, I will do. I'd have to get like DM screen capped consent. Oh, also there's another Entropy chat. This one is by I'm just getting to it. By Sam153, a good friend, for $20. Thank you so much, Sam153. Great seeing DA back. Nuptial, congrats to Prude. Great War Report episode, Gio. And tomorrow I am actually going to record another episode of the War Report, and I'll go in depth with the boys, GSP and Constantine, on the Iran situation. So there you go.
I've got an article on Substack coming out on...
oh, nice.
It's sort of a sequel to an essay I wrote a while back called The Coming Identity Bubble. So that'll be out tomorrow.
Nice. Good. And probably on Thursday or Friday, I'll have another episode of Content Minded with... that'll be interesting. I actually have Professor Stephanie Wakefield, where we talk about aesthetics, art, environmentalism, her writings on ecology, and a lot of like contemporary philosophy. It's very good. So be sure to check that out. But anyways, Randall Shirker for $5 again. Gio, can we blame total American hockey domination on the failure of the eternal Toronto Maple Leafs domination of the sport? Well, there's a lot of theories as to how Gary Bettman's first year as the operator of the NHL was the last year that a Canadian team won, which is 1993, which is the Montreal Canadiens. But to me, it's quite indicative of the drop-off of Austin Matthews. A lot of it's because he's playing with two wingers that actually know what they're doing. Like, he was very good in the Olympics, but he went back to being a non-entity as soon as they got back. So I don't know, man. It's very depressing. It's very depressing being a Toronto Maple Leafs fan this year. Really for the past almost a century. But anyways, thank you so much, Randall Shirker. And Not Ulysses for $4.99. The past 2 weeks have been so depressing, and seeing the DR shatter apart due to the war has generally been taxing on me. Also, nice new Mike Prude.
Oh, thanks.
Me as well, Not Ulysses. Thank you so much. And I'll probably talk a bit more about it on the War Report tomorrow, or when it comes out on Thursday. We'll see what happens. So $5 by Big Ben. O God of earth and altar, bow down and hear our cry. Our earthly rulers falter. Our people drift and die. Where is that from?
It's a very good question. I do not know.
And then he's got another one for $5. The wall of gold entombs us. The swords of scorn divide. Take not thy thunder from us, but take away our pride. I think I know that reference. It's from
G.K. Chesterton.
Oh, there you go.
God of Earth
and Altar. Yeah, that's where I heard it from. But thank you so much, Big Ben. Yes, it is true. Very interesting times that we're forced to live under. So, Not Ulysses for $4.99. I'm thankful for Oren, Charlemagne, and Lee Enfield having the most sensible loyalist takes, because frankly, this whole situation is buck breaking. So, yeah.
It's a wild time, to say the least.
And now we have Not Ulysses for $1.99 again. Gio, you don't want the war. You're a Panikin. So, yeah, thank you, Not Ulysses. And Randall Shirker for $2 says, Gio remains his sensitive young man phase. In his sensitive young man phase. So thank you, Randall Shirker. Not Ulysses again for $1.99. Laura Loomer tattling on Tucker Carlson is gross. What did she tattle on Tucker for?
I have no idea. I have not. I have her blocked.
Yeah,
so
same.
I'm not sure.
Oh,
I'd have to go look it up. I don't know. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't paid attention to what Laura Loomer's doing since she did the gerbils. Do you remember the gerbils protest? It was at Hamilton. Do you remember this?
Vaguely.
She like stormed a performance of Hamilton in New York, and she's like, gerbils, gerbils, gerbils. Like that was funny. We don't talk about what she did with Mike Ma, but anyways, Big Ben for $5. I'm a Seaman diet. I'm on a seaman diet. Seaman. Oh God, I can't say that. I'm on a Seaman diet. I see men, and if they're seamen, I eat them. Why? Well, I guess because of the Catholic the Lent thing, but anyways. I feel like Henny Youngman from remember he was in Goodfellas, like, see, you know, King of the One-Liners, remember? He's like, take my wife, please. You know, and he's like,
I think he's just simply calling you. I'm having way too much fun with this.
You're having dangerously too much fun with that.
Well, you know, after the sort of shit show of this episode, I think I'm allowed to enjoy myself every now and then.
Oh my God. Anyways, thank you, Big Ben. And Chudmonger for $2.
What a great name.
Chudmonger. Sneed super chat. Thank you, Chudmonger. And Randall Sugar for $5 again. Install control panel for Twitter extension, folks. It's not only the way to escape for you page Americans. They still have control panel? They still have that extension? Anyways, the Not Ulysses again for $1.99. Thank you, Prude, for being sensible on this. 3 hearts.
I'm trying, man. We're
trying, man. And then Not Ulysses for $4.99. It's insane how ZHP's tweet got immediately nuked the same day by the Telegraph's article on immigration from Iran. Like this has happened before. Yeah. So I think was that, I forget which exact, I mean, I know we had a back and forth with some mutuals, but anyways. Not Ulysses for $4.99. My take is that this and the files are undeniable proof that America and the West at large is an apartheid state, drained from every single bit. So thank you, Not Ulysses. And then finally, again, Not Ulysses for $1.99. I am a Hopeville and Ashton Pill beer and bull. Hopeville and Ashton pilled. Is that a reference to Kino Casino?
I have no idea.
Anyways.
Whenever I'm on this show and I talk to a certain IRL mutual of mine who's also been on the show as a guest when we did the anime review stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I'm reminded brutally of how not online I am.
Whoa! But anyways, any more on Entropy? No, anyways, we covered all the supers. Thank you so much, everybody, folks, for your generous support. You make the show possible. Ashton Purdy, haven't heard.
Because without you, the show would be like this. I'm gonna have way too much fun. You know what I should do?
Oh, here you go. Here you go. Hopeville and Ashton area are nuclear sinkholes in New Vegas.
Okay, but TV show or regular New Vegas? Because I've been spoiled on what the ending of the next season of Fallout has been for New Vegas, and it makes me want to shop for a firearm by mouthfeel, and it's really depressing.
Wait, you watched the New Vegas?
No, I didn't. I just had someone spoil it for me.
Oh,
you think I watch television? That's not true. I blame my wife because I have been watching a lot of TV lately. I'm halfway through Alien Earth and I'm impressed, and I'm waiting for it to cut me under the legs and screw me over with libtardism. But I am enjoying the production quality. There's my hot take, everyone. I gave a TV take. I know. And I piss her off because like when I'm cleaning the place or whatever, I have Frasier on in the background as like background noise. And she can't fucking stand that show. And it's my like, if I have Frasier, if I were to dare use a millennial cringe term, Frasier Crane is my comfort character, and you can rake me over the coals for it. But there you go. Lonesome Road of DLC New Vegas. Oh yeah, yes.
Nice. Thank you for the 189.
Not Ulysses from New Vegas. That's true.
Not Ulysses from New Vegas.
Oh well, now. Oh well, this all totally makes sense. I didn't when you just said not Ulysses. And I didn't. Okay, we're good. Never mind. Profile picture. Everything makes sense. We're good here. We're good. Oh, is that the same? Did you used to be not Grim from Red? From Red.
Yeah. Okay, so not Ulysses was the original about the Ashtonville, but now it's like not Grim. Yeah. So.
Okay. Check.
Randall Shirker for $2. This is
how the wife guy arc starts. Oh well. I mean, I'm a married man who lives with his wife. I imagine that there's going to be things about me that change that are unfortunate.
I sleep in a big bed with my wife.
You know what though? Because like so my roommate moved out to a different place, so my wife lives with me in our apartment. My studio / recording area has been my bedroom. We just took over his place to have like the master bedroom and all that jazz. And it's like I should just like replace the mattress I have with the race car bed.
Oh my god.
And like, if we ever have company over or someone visits and needs to stay the night, like you can sleep in the race car bed. I'm gonna go sleep in a bed with my wife.
That is a power move. That would be. Yeah.
And maybe I can get like a little Lightning McQueen like plastic chair, and that's the cuck chair in the race car. You're giving me terrible ideas that I now have to like.
Oh man.
Yeah. Oh, a story I explained on this is the one dumb stupid story. I think I explained this on a gaming stream, which has been paywalled. So a couple of weeks ago, I think it was right before the wedding or after the wedding. I was driving my wife to work, and we were singing along to "I Love This Bar" by Toby Keith, and I said, "Oh, rest in peace, Toby Keith. Like you will be missed." And she goes, "Toby Keith died?" She had no idea. I was like, yeah, honey, he died from cancer like 2 weeks ago. It was like stomach cancer. It was kind of quick. And she was like, nobody told me Toby Keith. Like she had a meltdown that Toby Keith had died. And so this woman is in hysterics as I'm dropping her off at work. And she was not happy to learn that Toby Keith had died. Like it's like telling someone who woke up from a coma that 9/11 happened for her. It was just not a good time. This is the only dumb, stupid shit wife story I'm going to tell. Outside of the fact I recently watched Dante's Peak, and fans of the Prudentialist gaming streams will know that Capitalissimo and I do a lot of stupid voices. And I just decided to give commentary on this god-awful B-movie disaster flick with Pierce Brosnan in the Morty Spitterman voice. It was a very good
I didn't know Toby Keith died.
I hate to break it to you, Gio.
Oh my god.
Toby Keith died of stomach cancer like 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But you know, you can write that off on emotional distress. Yeah. Go file a workman's comp form. You can write that off on your taxes.
I just
it's
can't
me,
think of
Morty
a world
Spitterman, your favorite not Spider-Man CPA.
I just can't think of a world without Toby Keith. Anyways,
the world you grew up in is no longer here, Gio. It ain't 2005 anymore.
Oh my god.
You're doing great,
Can you imagine Can you imagine like little Prude as a military brat going to the Toby Keith concert?
I went to a Toby Keith concert twice. It was pretty nice. I got pictures.
Oh my god. Anyways, Owen Zaleski for $3. Thanks, gents. I secured the bag in 07s. I'm working for the USCIS. What is that? USCIS.
That is the United States Custom and Immigration Services. There you go. You got a G7 job? Is that what you're saying?
And it's my first remote position, so I don't know anything about remote government work. Also, happy Lent to Gio and future Lent to Prude. Thank you.
Oh, Lent's already started for me. I'm in the second week of Lent. Our Paschal dates are a week off this time. It was nice when everyone got to enjoy POSCON 420 last year. But yeah, no, we won't have that overlap for a couple of more years. But I hope to all of my Lent observing friends on the Western calendar that the struggle is good for you all.
Man, I can't get over that. Rattling Saber said I could purchase a rhombus at the Shape Store. But anyways, the Shape Store really is like what Scorched Earth was saying. It really is like the platonic form of like internet culture and everything. Like I could write, because here's the thing. He wrote it very poetically, whereas I would have like this clunky theory cell essay about the Shape Store, and he's willing to go
I love
into
the Shape Store.
Well, he's willing to go into like esoteric racist directions that I wouldn't be.
I really do need an anon burner account where I can write esoteric racist screeds about the Shape Store.
But
and when that day comes, none of you will know.
Anyways, Jay Ford for $3. Iran sure did. Iran? Oh yeah, Iran. Oh my god.
I need to be quick on the draw with these.
And Vrillian,
really, bro?
This is Vrilliam F. Buckley. Vrilliam F. Buckley.
That's a great username. I'm not gonna lie. That's
that. I think Vrilliam kind of ruined it though. But like anyway, so Vrilliam F. Buckley for $5 just says Sneed. Thank you, Vrilliam F. Buckley. That's great. That's great. Prue just wants to be able to make videos with the spinny wheel edits. Oh my god.
Hey man. First of all, lower your fucking voice.
Well, wasn't Gavin Wax responsible for the New York? Like, didn't they have?
They had some fallout, but I don't know if it was Gavin Wax. I mean, there was stuff that had allegedly leaked, but I mean, there was also that DeSantis staffer that got in trouble.
Campaign. Yeah.
It was DeSantis, not the New York Young Republicans or whatever. It was the DeSantis guys that had the Sod and Rat edit of DeSantis, which is the only time where I think like DeSantis kind of looked cool when running for president, which is sad because like he had that cringe like fucking analog horror Mandela catalog smile on the debate stage, and it's just like, but then as soon as he dropped out, he was calling like Al Sharpton a retard on a Twitter video, and it's like, where was this guy? Like,
did Al Sharpton die recently?
I think he did. I think he did just recently die, or was it Jesse Jackson? No, it was Jesse Jackson who died. I think Al Sharpton is still alive.
Which one was the FBI informant, Jesse Jackson?
I think it was Jesse Jackson.
Yeah, I think Jesse. He lost a lot of weight in later years, eh? Like he was fat.
Al Sharpton was the one that was fat and then lost weight.
Oh, Al Sharpton was fat in the 70s and lost weight.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. There you go. But William did not ruin. Oh, yeah. But anyways, RIP to a legend. So we will see you next week on Prudes. When are we doing Code Chaos?
We are going to do those as a two-parter on the 24th and the 31st. And on the 23rd, Dimes and I will be live for Do You Even Read? Covering The Transformation of the World, A History of the 19th Century by, I think it's Jürgen Ostelhammer. It's been an interesting book so far. We're going to cover the first 500 pages. I'm recording this week with Wade Stotts to talk about P.D. James' The Children of Men. And I think that'll be an interesting episode. I'll have that out probably when I'm recording some other stuff. So, it'll be a good time overall. And then I have an essay on Substack out tomorrow, returning to the coming identity bubble and talking about the tokenization of online identity, community, and religion.
Nice. And I have another Content Minded coming out with Stephanie Wakefield. And I have a painting video I did last week, and then of course the Content Minded on the various abstract painters like Richard Diebenkorn, and I also did this bit on the paywalled version defending the Group of Seven, Napoleon Dynamite, defending the Group of Seven from this very vicious, unwarranted attack where the CBC Arts YouTube channel teamed up with some like bread tuber called The Canvas, where they like they were like propping up.
You're about to go into
like,
your Dave Green arc of covering like Canadian bread tubers.
Yeah, like
I like the idea that Canada is culturally behind the US in terms of content creators. So like,
yeah, bread tube.
Canada's about to have a bread tube explosion. I can't wait.
That's like in Canada in the 2010s they had like Stomp Clap Hey. When like it was like more of a
look, man, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of Stomp Clap Hey. White people music. It was nice. We don't have to shit talk it. It's okay.
I feel the same way about new metal, but anyways,
yeah, I know how you feel. I'm a ska fan. I have nice things to say about the Mighty Mighty Bosstones, so I'm just gonna.
Oh man, what was that?
There's
British
nothing wrong with a little esoteric wiggerism, okay? Like it's fine.
Oh man, going hard as you know what. Anyways, thank you all. You've been very generous. I know this is very dark and depressing times, and we'll see what happens. I pray for the end of conflict, obviously. And like I say, we'll probably have more takes in the war report when it comes out. But and Prude will have an article tomorrow. But may God bless you all at this time. And thank you so much for your continued support. It means a lot to us. And we'll be live next week on Prude's channel. And all the links are down in the description. And, says that we always say, God bless, goodbye, too sweet.
See you, gents.